Oh, yeah. Wait, did I not turn that off? All right, whatever. I didn't turn it off. I pushed the wrong button. We're on the show.
You could tell that we did a lot of prep for the show beforehand.
I did a lot of prep. This guy. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true. I just waltz in. Adam hands me a whiskey, and we BS for an hour before the show.
Hey, it was a good moment for the BS.
Was.
We've been prepping for shows, and we needed some moments just to break down some life philosophy, all of the things. Hey, what is up, Mike Azul? And we got Stealth Mouse in the chat.
Bull dancing in the chat.
Heck yeah. Well, welcome to the show today. I mean, as much as we didn't prep necessarily together.
Yeah, but there's a ton of stuff to talk about.
There's a ton of stuff to talk about
Well,
tonight.
and in fact, it's almost even better because we didn't talk as much about it. So now it could be fresh takes straight out the gate here.
The funny part is we just came off of, like, I would say a pretty like life philosophical conversation. Totally. And we're like, should this be the show?
Goals for the future?
My God.
Like, all of that.
What's life got to bring in the next 4 years? It was pretty intense. So it was good discussion. And
absolutely.
We want to bring that energy to the show. So thanks for joining us tonight. A great show as always. Just to give you kind of a little bit of a lens of how do we make the shows, Ryan? Do you want to give some insights, or I mean, maybe I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Start.
It's about 2 weeks between each show, right? Mm-hmm. So life happens. Ryan collects things. I collect things.
We work on things. We do projects. We do live our lives and do our jobs that are fun, creative, cool, interesting things, and then we occasionally send each other Discord messages and add things to a Trello board.
But the thing is, the Trello board, and this is where I feel that I think about the show, and not in a way that's like, oh, I want all these people to go and watch every little detail of what I've done over this last couple of weeks. And we're like, that is a really interesting topic. Yeah. I want to talk about that.
Totally. That's exactly everything that I've added to the Trello board of our little show notes here are things where it just came up in my discussions and life. And I was like, that is a weird, cool thing that I want to talk to Adam and all of you about.
So there's a bunch that we want to talk about. So let me just run down some of the articles, some of the things that came up this last week. We can talk about them. And sometimes there's an article about it. We'll talk about the article. We don't need to go deep into the details of it, but talking about coding is dead in 24 months. Ugh. We talked about the philosophical rabbit hole and the things that we're getting into. I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm just saying this article is saying that's the truth. And this has been said. And
it might dovetail nicely into one of mine actually.
And I mean, and then there was one, we're going to talk a little bit about AI fonts. Of course, everything's like AI-esque, but now we're getting to the nuanced details of it. Yeah.
What are people actually using this AI stuff for?
Heck yeah. We talked about it last time. There was that curve, and I think people were stopping to use the AI in like the what do you call it? The more, oh my God, AI is in everything, to, okay, there's some legitimate ways that we might be able to use some AI going forward. So,
do you know only 20% of the workforce uses AI on a weekly basis? Sad.
Good job security for us. What can I say? I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. No, some other things we're going to talk about is AI fonts. Did I put that one in there? I probably did.
You did.
I put in AI fonts, so we're going to talk about that tonight.
I can see that. I love typography.
One of the ones that's going to hit home, though, is AI in gaming. There were some interesting things that happened this last week. So one, Doom being recreated in AI. We're going to go look at some video on that in a bit. Yeah. But there was also a new one that just dropped. Did you know about this one? Mm-mm. They've been doing Mario in that as well. Wow. And there's been a lot of conversation of it's not there yet, but games might be able to generate different worlds in real time as you play games. And I'm like, oh my God, that's
it's so custom bad. Everything. That's what everything is going to be in the future is. It's going to look at all my little tastes and preferences and be like, what little movies do you want to see and television shows and video games do you want to play?
Is that good, Ryan? Is that good?
I mean, it's great for the Wall-E world that we're moving into, but I don't know if it's necessarily amazing for critical thinking skills.
No, I don't think so either. So Ryan, you had this one. What was the next one we had on the list?
Oh, I'm Canva. Oh yeah. So big thing in the news is that Canva is like raising a bunch of their prices because of AI. And I thought it was interesting timing because the company that I work for has a Canva Pro account.
Okay.
And they've had it for years, and the marketing team uses it. And I was always under the, it's like, that's for babies. Like, I'm anti it just on like principle. And over the last 2 months, I had to do 2 big projects in Canva. And so I was like, it would be interesting I thought, to have a discussion about somebody who is a Adobe user from way back and a diehard, to like try a new thing and sort of compare them and see if a 300% price increase is worth it.
I love it. I would love to hear about it. I know that I'm a big Photoshop person, and I actually got my license of Photoshop taken away recently. So
burn.
if you have any Photoshop, I'm sorry, we can't show it tonight.
No.
But that's why I got my serif
Affinity?
programs. Affinity. I'm still all about that. Did I tell you that I tried Affinity? Or I was using Affinity, and then I tried to go back to Photoshop, and I preferred Affinity.
Oh.
We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
I got a fun one for y'all. Robot mushrooms. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. We're going to talk about robot mushrooms. Stay tuned if you want to learn about what this is about. Crazy stuff here. You talked about this next one. What is this?
I think you should move this right next to Coding is Dead in 24 months. I think this should be the second item.
That's fine. We're going to
And
do it right now.
what that is we learned a tiny bit. It's just going to be super short, but it's about OpenAI's Strawberry.
Is this the new launch?
This is the new hotness sort of leaking from OpenAI, which I'm always, I don't know, I'm a big, like, not fanboy, but just like following the AGI race that we are on right now to get to AGI. And, OpenAI feels like, a top player in that game. And so when they're leaking stuff about their new, cool, interesting versions of the software and the AI, I'm listening.
I love it. And then we're going to dive into GB Studio tonight. We'll probably play some games too, if you're all into it. So I have been in like the weirdest sprint mode, and Stealth Mouse can completely understand this because
she was like, because I've been getting ignored.
Yeah, she's ready to kick me in the square.
She was like, who's more important to you, your Game Boy game or me, Adam?
100%. I've been
100% neglectful.
That is it. So I apologize, but it's all for a good reason. There, she has been very patient.
I appreciate
you,
that, because the game wouldn't be nearly as far as it is without that patience.
It has been a sprint, and so, babe, I've been thinking about you. I just have these things that go in my head to the point where like I wake up in the middle of the night.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, I did reward you. Not with what you might think, everyone.
Weirdos.
No.
Get a room.
Now, she got a sweet skeleton dog that's like a 7-foot skeleton dog for Halloween. So.
Man, everyone is leaning into giant skeleton things. Like, I went to Lowe's and there was like 6 giant skeleton versions of stuff or things. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. It's awesome.
Heck
I
yeah.
love it. I want to see nothing but giant skeletons across Halloween.
That are completely not biologically like realistic. I love some of the skeletons they make of things that don't have skeleton. Here's a skeleton shark.
Squid.
What?
Octopus skeleton.
Oh my God. It's ridiculous. But then GB Studio 4.1 has launched, and tonight we're going to get to see something different. I'm going to talk about what I did in the game. And let's just be honest. On the show for the last 9 months, you've seen the game. You've seen probably the same damn levels of the game. You're like, what could you possibly be doing behind the scenes for hours upon hours? Well,
you're like, all this talk from Adam about the hours that he's working on this freaking
I
thing.
know, and the worst part is no one will ever really truly understand what I was doing because it's building some of the under thing.
Underappreciated in his time.
Oh. No. We had to. His name is DOG.
Nice.
All right.
DOG.
Well, all right. Let's start it off. Coding is dead. This is an article. Let me go pull it up on here. This is an Amazon article. So I'm gonna chuck this out there. I don't know.
Even though it's like, couldn't you put any industry is dead in 2 years when we're talking about
very
AI stuff?
clickbaity title.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie on this one. What is this? This is from Windows Central, and so you got the article in the chat there. We're not going to even show it. There's too many damn ads on that thing. So, you know what? We use some AI to help summarize some of this for us,
totally
but
do it.
because we gotta be meta and crazy about it. But as I read the article, a couple things they were kind of talking about.
Don't pretend that this is you and you're just gonna read off this teleprompter.
Hell no, they ain't no teleprompter. As I was completely pulling out of my mind and understanding this,
my brain synthesis of the article gave me these 3 talking points.
No, I just had to remind it because one of the things I will be honest with is like earlier on when we started doing show rundowns, I would find an article, I would read the first paragraph and I'm like, oh, I'm going to read that later this week. And then I'm like, oh crap, it's showtime. And I didn't read the article. Yeah. I read every article in depth and really like, okay, critically, is this the right thing that we want to work on or talk about?
Yeah.
So NVIDIA, this is not in the article or it kind of mentions it a little bit, is when they were putting out their big new chipsets for their graphics cards, they're like, coding's dead. Don't teach people coding anymore.
Yep, they did say that.
And I was like, oh man, that's like, what is that just like trying to sell their stuff or what are they trying to do here? Sure. And so generally now Amazon and some other people are saying the same thing. They're coming out with the new thoughts and they're saying like, it's going to be less critical as we start going in the future.
Yeah.
So they're going to push developers to start using the skills a little bit more. They're going to say like, hey, guess what? Because AI is out there, you got to start adapting to the skills. So let me just, I'm going to talk to the punchline. Coding is not dead in 24 months, but it's the people that think that they're going to be special because they have all this ability to code. It's more of what we've been saying for a while. It's those that can utilize and adapt and flex to the new kinds of things and utilize this that are going to help you. So if you try to code something right now, it codes pretty decent. You saw me make some of those little those apps before, but they're saying like it's going to push developers to get things done faster.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
with less people.
Less people, and of course that's the challenge, but they're saying like, okay, yeah, but if a bunch of people get that skill, they can then push us a little bit further and we can do more with that.
Yeah.
So if you're able to leverage AI, you're going to be able to do certain tasks that were bullshit before. Because there was a lot of stuff that wasn't great.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like that's everything, right? Like that doesn't feel singularly distinct to programming. It feels like every industry is going to have, it's just going to get condensed down. Same thing the computers did, right? Condense it down, and where you needed 3 people, you might need 2 now, right? Or you might need 1 at some point. And so then you're like, well, now 2/3 of that industry is out. And what are they going to do? So that's the hard part, that I think this stuff accelerates faster than the internet and computers and fire and all of that stuff before it. So that makes it hard. But do you think in 24 months we're going to have 1/3 or 2/3 of programmers out of jobs?
That's a great question. And the answer is I don't know.
Sure.
But the answer
but I want your hot take on this.
My hot take is that I think you're going to have people out of jobs that are going to be like, I'm not doing AI because that stuff is like, no. I agree in certain ways, and I didn't want to get on this one. I didn't put on the list. But have you heard about Microsoft Recall? Who's heard about this?
I haven't.
Have you not heard about Recall? Mm-mm. It's like up in arms moments, Ryan, like revolt style.
Okay.
So Windows is releasing this thing called Windows Recall. And this does reference this. So let me wrap on this Amazon article, and I want to talk about Recall. Okay. So the answer is, or at least what the article summarizes, is that coding is going to change fundamentally. Their organizations are looking for people that are going to leverage AI, problem-solving skills, the ability to do things different, and have an aptitude for leveraging AI to do things better and faster. Now, not necessarily take people out of the equation, but it's going to be an enhancement to productivity, and not the productivity of like, oh, you can do that same thing you used to do just 10 times faster, but now you can do that thing that took a lot of BS work faster so that you can work on the good stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're going to get people with like the aptitude and the ability to do more and get the repetitive tasks out of the way. It's kind of like I don't want to go to like farming or something. Maybe
Yeah.
you used to have like a hoe and you have to go and dig this hole.
It's the Industrial Revolution,
Yeah.
right? It's the
Technological revolution or
Oh,
whatever.
what? No one's called it that before, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess so too. It's the second age of enlightenment, Ryan.
Oh,
That's where we're
man.
headed.
Some Ray Kurzweil
So,
stuff
in
going.
a general sense, what we're saying is if you're not leveraging AI, if you're not even trying to enhance your abilities, and so, like, I'll just use Stealth Mouse as an example. Is it going to replace the medical profession?
Sure.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not. But is it going to enhance your ability to look at things and do things? Probably.
Right.
And there's a lot of data and other things that you can like look through quickly to help you get to maybe, okay, you're analyzing what somebody has as an issue. And so typically it takes some research, it takes some smarts, of course, and a lot of education to get there. But maybe it starts to raise those to the top of your list first, and then you can dive in deeper as to, well, what can I do? How can I help it? You know, there's other ways that it's going to affect other industries at different rates. They're saying coding, because a lot of the internet has a bunch of code and logic are something that generative AI can like look at and be like, oh, awesome, I can do that and I can create it. I'm going to pause now and I'm going to flip over to Windows Recall. It's not on the list, but we're talking about it because you don't know about it. What the fish? Anybody else in the chat know about Windows Recall? Because if you don't know about it, you should probably be a little bit frightened. So Windows had come up with this new thing that they're putting in all of their new Windows 11 computers that are built on this specific chipset.
Okay.
Yeah, always on AI in your OS, 100%. So they've created this thing that takes screenshots at a repetition on your desktop and saves it into this like little folder location, so then you can search where you've been. So they can see all the great fun stuff that you've just been doing or spy on you. Essentially, it's a spyware in a way. And so there are some benefits. Think about the greater population that have this thing going on, and you're trying to figure out, well, what did you do? Why did you get that virus? How did you get back to this? Like, there's a bazillion different ways that you could leverage that. The problem is there's no way to uninstall it. There's no way to really take it off. And Windows is like, nope, this is part of how you're going to do everything going forward.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, what? No way. Like, what if you're a medical professional? What if you're an attorney? What if you're doing things on your computer that you're like, this data is super important. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want some AI researching and looking at it.
Or like a politician, or there's
Anything.
tons of things.
And so think about it this way. They're like, no, but it's cool. Like, we're putting in this folder. It's encrypted. It's like in this area that you can't, nobody's going to get to it. Somebody hacked it within like hours of it coming out initially.
Of course.
They backed away from just saying that they're going to do it, staved off this like, hey, we're not going to adopt it. And people were like, that's some BS. That we know this is coming back. Sure enough, they're like, hey, guess what? It's coming back out. It's coming back in a couple of months. Mandatory. Can't shut it off. Too bad, suckers. We're doing the thing. And everyone's like, are you freaking serious? And then there was a recent article this last week. They're like, oh, we see the uninstall feature for it. Great. They did the right thing. That people can take it off their computer. And they're like, oh, sorry, that's a bug. We're
We're
that didn't mean to be on there. It's still part of your
it's
stuff.
totally-
Screw
it's
you.
part of it.
We have market share by like 93% of the market.
So
You're done.
I like 90% agree with you. Can I give you a sci-fi
Ryan
like
versus
rebuttal?
go for it.
a
Do it.
sci-fi rebuttal? So if you read Nick Bostrom's book, which is called Superintelligence, he makes reference to the idea that at some point people will be able to make mass killing devices that aren't giant governments spending hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Because right now, the only mass killing that you can be doing is probably like a nuclear weapon or an atomic weapon, and we regulate that a lot. And the only people who could afford to create any of those kind of things are giant governments. But once you start getting into like nanobot creation and the ability to program robot swarms of drones and things like that, you start to get a little bit further in the idea that like a single madman could take down, it doesn't take a country to do that. It takes a single billionaire to decide that he's going to take over the entire world, right? A super villain. And the only way that you get around that is sort of by everyone has to kind of give up their privacy. Because And here's what I'm saying. I'm only 10% agreeing with this side, but I
Okay,
want to bring it
10%.
up.
Fair
but
enough.
I want to bring it up as an argument point.
Okay.
Like, how do you stop if, let's say, like a billionaire could create something that could take out the entire world and he
Sure.
just holds the world hostage? Like, how do you prevent something like that happen if you're not kind of monitoring what everyone is doing kind of all the time to say, like, I can't see from satellite photos that you're building a nuclear like launch facility because you're doing this all online with like nanotech robot stuff that you're going to be doing. And I need to be able to like stop that in
Who's
time
looking at it though?
Exactly. I don't know. Some sort of world police? Who knows? But like
America.
Exactly. But I guess that's the other side of the thing of like, at
But
some
then,
point,
at what
how
point do we
you
lose
stop
our?
something like that?
But that's the thing. Is like, is that a fringe scenario? Yeah, Minority Report. That was the thing I was thinking.
Well, it was like it's like the future. Yeah, because
And then
I just
people are like,
rewatched Minority
"Hey, you did
Report.
this thing.
You did this thing in the future.
We're gonna get you because generative AI says you're gonna be a mass murderer."
I don't know. That's the only. So I don't know if people have.
I appreciate some certain parts of that. I guess at one point, where do we lose our humanity and our ability to make decisions in that? Like,
but I guess like if somebody can take over the world and destroy the world, you know there are people who would do that. Who would just do it just to see the world burn. That don't have any,
right?
That are crazy or insane or get that way because of their millionaires. But then they do something, and you're like, you're just gonna allow the earth to be destroyed or like people on the earth to be destroyed? I guess, is it better to have none of that privacy and a world or no world?
I appreciate your counterpoints to this. And I would say like, maybe we're just not fit to be on the world anymore as humanity. And like, it would be much better if like that did happen. It's like, we're trying to balance that out, but this is all going to happen because of Windows Recall, of course.
Of course. I'm glad Windows Recall is bringing.
Screw you, Windows Recall. They should be called Skynet, is what it should be called.
Okay, move on to the next one.
All right, next one up is all right. OpenAI Strawberry. We got to talk about it. Do I need to look a link up on this one?
I put a link in there. Like, so what this is, if you followers of the show will know that I spouted 20 minutes of a conspiracy theory about OpenAI perhaps 6 months ago.
Oh.
And what this is when OpenAI was going through their big breakup. They fired their Sam Altman, their board member, the board did, and then they brought him back, and there was this whole thing, right? And some of the like stuff coming out of that was a model of a AI program that they were creating called Q-Star.
Yeah, I remember this
whole conversation, right? And so what that is morphed into is OpenAI Strawberry. And they've been very much like, talking about strawberry. Sam Altman put a picture of a strawberry on his thing and said, aren't strawberries great in the fall? And so they were like, okay, like they're working on a new thing called Strawberry and it's coming out. They're trying to get it out in the fall. And what this is that same thing that we were talking about with Q-Star, which is it has the two different modes, basically, that it has that creative version of Strawberry, creative version of ChatGPT on one side, right? But then it has the more technical and, exact search and research on the other side, so that it isn't just making up the 2 + 2 = 7, right? Because a bunch of people on the internet wrote the 2 + 2 = 7. And so what this is like what they're basically saying, and we could jump over to even some of this, is kind of like, this is what the leak is for the most part.
Okay.
And what they're saying is that they're working on two models. One is Strawberry, which is that version where it can be analytical and it can be creative, both at the same time. So down a little bit. This one. Okay. So one is that like solves complex tasks and does that, but it has that language understanding and all of those things. It can they were saying they were doing it on the New York Times puzzle. That is their big one that they're not going to release. They're almost just going to keep feeding it. I think they think that this is where AGI is going to come from. And then what's going to actually happen, the one that gets released to the public, is one called Orion. And what that does is it does other better things, right? But it's getting data and it's building its own, you know, because right now OpenAI, they've run out of crap to scan.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're done with every single YouTube video in the entire world and every book in the entire world. So what if they could get this model to create them new stuff behind the scenes, not release it to the public so everyone can steal it, and then feed that like thing into their model that they push out as a consumer thing into the world. And that's what it kind of feels like they're doing with this, which is interesting.
Now, this is truly like Skynet stuff here.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Exactly. Like it's one of those things where you say the big AI that we're creating, we're keeping that behind closed doors so no one can look at it and no one can do stuff. And the consumer side of it is just getting fed information and unique sort of stuff from that as we build that one up higher and higher and higher so no one can steal it. I was talking to a friend this week and he was saying, you know, hey, like, how come it doesn't seem like any of these AI companies like are making any money off of it? Like Google is not making a ton of money off of AI. ChatGPT is not necessarily, even though it has hundreds of millions, you know, of users, it's not necessarily making that much money for what it's spending. All of the Claude, all of that is losing money. And so it's like, why don't they care about how these work? And I said, because they don't, that is just to satisfy quarter to quarter investors, right? Like the bookies. All they know is like, whoever gets to AGI first gets to slam the door behind them, right? And so it's a race up a stairwell, and whoever gets to that spot first, they close it on everyone else, because if you have AGI 3 months before everyone else, you may have as well have had it 30 years before everyone else. And so they're just like pumping money into this. So
AGI, just so everyone know, AGI is what?
So how OpenAI explains what AGI is it can do the work of an entire organization, every employee at an entire organization at a PhD level, and create unique things. So it can, they can create unique things out of the information they give, just like humans, and they can work at a PhD level and do the work of an entire organization. Because at that point, then you just go, great, just duplicate that entire organization off into a million different things, looking about clean energy and how to make cars safer and blah, 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 whatever.
Artificial general intelligence is what we're headed for. So
at a PhD level, you know, I hear you.
So I guess what I'm hearing here is that we are on the cusp of this 24-month thing, and we're going to see where we're at. And
yeah. I just thought that was an interesting. It's like I love the chase to AGI, and this is a fun rumor.
The chase to then the fallout of all that, how that all comes together. Interestingly enough, as we talk about that, on Netflix, if you haven't seen recently, they just released a new series. It was an animated series for the Terminator. Had you heard about this one?
I have heard about that.
Terminator
I have not watched
Zero.
It. Yeah.
So I will not put spoilers if you're planning on watching it.
Especially because I might if I hear it's good.
It is. So they said, if you know anything about the Terminator series, because obviously we're talking AGI, totally. AI. Yeah. So the first and the second Terminator were considered like masterpieces of their time. And then it kind of fell off the rails on 3, and then all the other like subsequent kind of things. They're like, this is the best in moving the story forward since 1 and 2.
Okay, so they're like they're retconning everything after 2.
They didn't retcon it. They basically, and this is where I can't spoil it, is they were able to then like substantively take it away, and this doesn't spoil, but it does give you kind of an idea, is that it's not about any of the John Connors and any of that crap. Okay. They're able to say like, hey, here is the next version of where this is going.
I love that.
And what I love about it is that it really ties into some of the things we were just talking about, and some of the things we just talked about even before this conversation. Mm-hmm. Watch it, and we'll talk about it next time.
Okay.
But it's the
homework for everyone. Come back next time. How many episodes is it?
I think it's 10, 6 to 10. I think it's maybe 10 episodes.
Half hour.
You will know Kuroko after what that means.
Okay.
It'll be worth it. It'll be nice. All right. So moving on. What is our Doom in AI?
I think you got to show some of this. If the other things didn't lend themselves to visuals, this one does.
We are absolutely going to do that. So what AI has been doing is they've been training on video games. And
we talked about how Google was doing a video game thing. It could sort of do a platformer for a couple seconds. You know, we talked about that. All we did was a couple seconds.
Had you seen this version of it?
I had. Like, and Google they had a thing, and it was like, great, now give me a text prompt about a platformer and I will create a little platformer video, basically. And this is far more advanced than that.
Yeah, so what we're looking at right now is this video we're about to play is generated, and if you've ever played Doom, you're like, oh yeah, that's just a Doom game. But every little frame of this is generated in real time by AI.
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing is this isn't like somebody playing it. I just want to like put that out there, but it's essentially saying like, make the Doom game and make it look like somebody's actually playing it. So you can see some things like disappear and then reappear in certain areas. But if you were to like peek at that, you might be like, yeah, that's somebody just playing Doom.
Yeah. I feel like the crazy thing about it is it's running at 15 frames a second or something like that. I mean, it's not insane, but it's rendering all 15 frames a second in real time just by the idea that it knows what Doom is. And just like in ChatGPT, where it's just predicting what the next word is going to be, it's just predicting what the next frame is going to be that it needs in this sequence. And they've just tuned it, like trained it in a way that it looks like, a passable version of Doom.
I mean, at this level, first of all, the HUD and like the actual character is spot on. Like you would just think that that's just Doom. You can see some of those characters kind of blurring out and things happening.
But like the health is going down.
Oh yeah.
When he's in the little green goo. And I watched a longer video of this, sort of a behind the scenes thing of it. And they were talking about, they showed like Midjourney trying to do this, right? And like the face of the Doom guy is all messed up and the numbers are sort of like basically there, but really gibberish, And they were like, they had to train the UI to be like, no. When this happens, when you're in the green stuff, you got to make the number, or whatever you consider the number to go down. And each number needs to look like an exact 7 or exact 9. And all of that stuff, it really felt like, oh man, because that is the hard stuff for AI to figure out, right? It's like keeping things exactly the same. And so the being able to like have the UI and being able to like walk down hallways and it just not be an endless hallway, right? It needs to get to a room and the room needs to be big and there needs to be 2 exits to the room. All feel like super huge steps forward.
And obviously had to train on like what game would you do that on?
Right.
Doom is a humongous one. The only other game that you might be able to do better is Mario.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I haven't seen this one. Well, so this is a different.
Yeah, and this is another one. Now, they don't have some.
You got to share.
They don't have a lot of crazy videos on this one, but I will show you. Like this is more of a paper. And you'd want to go learn about like how they did this.
That was the Google one too. I mean, that was the other one. That was the Doom one. I mean, they're all just basically like research papers.
But I love the fact that this like breaks it down as to what's happening and how they do it. So if you're interested in what the whole, decisions and how it decides to make all this, this is that description on it. And like, how does it do that? What's the ground mean? And how do you do these next things? So people are saying like, this is the next steps of video games the next couple of years. Right now it's like, oh my God, look at this. This is the Will Smith eating spaghetti to like where we're at now.
Exactly. To Sora.
If you can get this, you're going to be like, I need a Zelda-like video game, but that is in with this kind of
a jungle. This is the jungle scene. This one, I needed sort of like Mario 2 physics and all of that.
So you can see some examples in there where it's just generating like versions of Mario. It's crazy. It's a little blurred up, but the idea and the concept behind how they're doing it is pretty amazing.
Yeah. 24 months and the video game industry is dead. Adam, write that article. And
the 300 hours of double drop down Skull Bobs will be like
in the toilet.
Like that's a toilet like double drop down Skull Bobs.
Human designed games. Yuck.
Ugh. Who wants that gross?
So gross.
All right, so I think the last one is a fun one. Actually, in the chat, in our Discord, Ryan had read an article that Mike Azul had put in there, and it was about some of the design things that are happening, right? It was a video, and it talked about and like, what was your summary on that? I think you had a comment. It was how is it going to affect design professionals?
Totally. Well, it was more like sort of art in general, right? Like, can AI create, like, do we consider that art? Is it more of a tool for the people that are going to use it? Like, how much is it going to take away what artists do in general? I mean, in some ways, lots of stuff like we say, right? Like, it's going to be a tool like for a long time. The reason that people associate with art and like it and want to have it in their house or want to absorb it as content, right, is because it has that human connection with people that
Sure.
I think like you don't get as much with just something that makes something pretty and is built by an algorithm that people can maybe feel that in a way that they can't, and they want to connect with an artisan who is creating something, from that human condition. And so it was a really interesting like article. Maybe you want to look up the art that the guy was doing, who is like the residence and artist at some kind of, Ivy League school, and doing a bunch of AI art, just kind of like we're experimenting with.
I mean, I love the concept. I love the discussions around it.
Check it out on our Discord.
Yeah,
Mike Azul posted that.
That was a good one. I'd say the last one was interesting, and this is one that you brought up, and I don't know if you'd heard about this.
I didn't.
There is a gentleman, and we'll take a quick just few hits on this. It's nothing super crazy, but this guy has found out how to make awesome fonts using AI that is like consistent and amazing.
Nice.
And so he went and he adjusted some specific things to where there's this new model, and people are like, holy crap, like you've like cracked the code on getting like text in there.
Wow.
In like really sweet ways. And so I didn't get too deep into like exact it, but there's this like typeface he created, and then as you generated AI, it was super consistent. And so like this is just examples of like what it would do. It would like put DualShock ready to play, like actual logos that looked exactly like that. And there's some whole details on like what that would create. And so what they were trying to show here is that he created some ways that you would actually emulate some of the things that you'd absolutely see in the game world and get what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? It's web-based. And I agree with you. And so I'm not going to, I thought about it beforehand.
Where is this post on trends?
I'm putting this one on here. I'm glad you called me out on that, but this was the only place I could find this particular detail.
I'm 100% back on Reddit. It's the politics stuff.
I'm so out of it. I'm out.
All right, great job.
I've been on, I like Tildays. I use it daily. Man. I use Slashdot. I use Lemmy. I use Mastodon. Wow. LinkedIn.
That's so many.
And I use all of them. It's great. And they all have ends. I get to the end of it. I'm like, great. I did all the things for the day. Politics and all that, all that stuff. I get it all. I feel like I'm in. I'm back in, but not with Reddit. So
okay.
It's a thing. It happens. Anyways, I just wanted to call it out because this is one of those areas we always kind of like, oh, I can't even type a word. And now there is somebody that has created this, and it is amazing.
Well, I feel like what it does is it helps with customizing that stuff for like graphic designers, right? Because right now it's like illustration.
Yeah.
Right now it's illustration, and that's basically all it can do, and it can kind of fumble around with type. But if you were to be able to be like, hey, do this and include this typeface, then like that's an amazing step towards that. And in fact, probably a good segue maybe even to our next topic.
Yeah, and so I want to hear about this. This is the Canva discussion, right?
Yeah, so some news came out about Canva.
Wait, let's start with Canva. What the hell is Canva?
Canva is like a web-based, subscription-based graphic design template sort of software that is used by a lot of I don't want to say non-creatives, but like people outside of kind of that like main graphic design, video creation, media creation, like realm. And so because it's easier to use. And so naturally by that description, I was like, fuck you, Canva. Like
that's our one F for the word. Exactly. We're still PG-13.
PG-13, then you get one. I'm always going to be the one.
You're the one that used it. Bastard.
Yeah, we're how many minutes are we in? An hour in. Yeah, basically I was like, F you, Canva. Like, You are for babies. You are for secretaries that want to make flyers for the company barbecue. Go ahead. Like, I'm not going to interact with you at all. And when anybody asks me about Canva, I'm going to like shit on it. Right. And so that was basically my stance for the last like infinity of whenever Canva existed, up until like maybe 2 months ago. Our company had purchased a Canva Pro account years ago. And I knew it was there, and I knew marketing used it or whatever. And I was like, that's fine. But then I had to do some actual projects in it.
Sure.
So the news is that Canva is increasing the amount it costs to subscribe to this for everyone basically across the board, but especially sort of pro accounts like that, up to 300%. And a lot of it is because
Did everyone know this is coming?
Well, no, they just sort of announced it that it's coming up and that kind of thing. And so 300%. And they claim that the reason is because we've like implemented all of this amazing AI technology into it. And so for the last 2 months, I've had to work on 2 like pretty major projects inside of Canva for my company, because they were like, hey, we need the marketing team to be able to edit this afterwards. And you can't do it in InDesign, right? You can't do it in Premiere Pro. So I did one big like workbook almost style thing. And then I did one like very complicated video edit that includes sort of motion graphics and things like that over the last 2 months. And so now I have an opinion on the AI stuff inside of Canva and how it compares to Adobe Premiere, like in that. So anyway, do you want to hear the hot take?
I want to hear the hot take. I'm waiting for it because here's the thing is that I want to just give you my experience with Canva is that, we've learned on Photoshop, it takes some very crazy amounts of skills to get into this and leverage that platform and know like, here's a layer and here's a blending and here's all the things. And we had a similar situation at our thing. We're like, everyone wants to make a poster. Everyone wants to do the thing.
Totally.
And nobody wants you to do it in Publisher, which is the old way of doing it. Yeah. Everyone was like, here's a sweet Publisher brochure that I'm sending out.
It's a PowerPoint that's sized to a poster size.
And so they're like, here's Canva, just like you described. Yeah. We're going to put some constraints on it, pull this font and do this. And now you have a branded, sweet like design. And we get you there like, 65% of the way. And it looks still kind of good.
Totally. That's exactly you're describing the exact situation that every single company who orders a Canva account goes through. And that's non-creatives or mid-creatives, I don't know what you want to call them, like need to be able to create stuff that is on brand and at least follow some sort of level of like design philosophy without hiring a freaking whole like double the size team of graphic designers who are keeping their designs, walled off with InDesign source INDD files, right? Okay. So I was in that same thing. I was like, hey, this thing sucks. It sucks that I have to build these projects in here. So I would say I went in very skeptical and I came out somewhat thinking that it is a worthwhile project that is trying to do new and interesting things with how like simple designs are creative that Adobe should be like aping. Like the entire last 30 years is every company trying to ape what Adobe is doing, right? Every single Infinity, every single browser-based free Photoshop clone is trying to do the exact thing that Adobe is doing. And right now, Adobe needs to look outside their own walls and look what other people are doing and incorporate that into what they're doing.
Adobe is like struggling, I feel.
Totally.
Big time.
Because right now, Adobe, when you go into Adobe Premiere or you go into Adobe InDesign, that thing is so packed full of everything that any designer could possibly do to create anything under the freaking sun, from a Marvel movie to the stupidest little 2-frame GIF, right? Everything is like a zillion drop down menus that go 3 layers deep to figure out anything. And the only way that you understand any of it is by watching tutorial videos and doing that thing 300 times until you have it memorized and you go, great, now I'm an Adobe master, right? And what Canva does is they go, you know what you're probably going to build? These freaking 6 things. Like, you're going to create a video that has things that pop into frame, that sort of foosh out of frame, that do these little animations in and out and that kind of stuff. And like, I'm just going to put that all in front of you and say, that's probably 90% of what you're going to use.
Did they do this? All right, so all of this stuff that they use AI to go and say, this is what everyone's doing with this right now. Okay.
So I'm not even talking about the AI side of it right now, but that's just sort of Canva in general.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
It's dumbed down.
Yeah.
The 20% that I miss frustrates me to no end. The idea to go into there and that I can't add spacing between bullet points in an InDesign thing.
Yeah, that's a you thing though. That's a designer thing to say for sure.
But like that level of technicality is what I get with Adobe, right? That I don't get with Canva.
Right.
Now the issue is, how come Adobe doesn't allow me to get that front level, let me get the front end style of this without 1,000 things in my way and 100 button clicks, and let me get 80% of the way there, which Canva does let me do. And then the last 20%, I want to punch Canva in its face. And I go, how come I can't be in Adobe to get this last 20%? And that's where the magic is. Like, Adobe needs to allow me to get to that 80% and then be like, boom, now that you're at this 80%, here's the full suite.
It's the balance of 2 of them. You need to like get a Canva to spit out to an Adobe file and vice versa.
Yeah. Now here's the biggest issue of the entire freaking thing. Practically, Canva absolutely does not want you to save out anything that isn't like a fully done little Canva project,
because it's all in their cloud.
Because
right?
it's all in their thing. I'm sure they're paying stuff. You can't, like in Pro, I can just go in and search Getty images, right? And get things. What I can't do is select a Getty image and be like, give me that as a PSD, or give me that as even a standalone PNG at full resolution. So I can bring it into Photoshop and do some real freaking work, right? It's like, no. Why don't you add like why don't you add a text box to that before we let you export that out? And so you have to do this runaround, right? So bottom line is, I did some projects in Canva. Some of them turned out super cool. Some of them, like, I would use Canva over Adobe After Effects in certain ways, because I was like, 90% I can get in what I want here. And that's probably good enough for the project that I'm working on, right? And it took a lot less time, and other people can now go in and steal sections from that, edit it and do whatever they want and save it out. And the secretary or the marketing person can go and do that. Right. And that, like, getting to that 80% and not having that wall is better for some projects than it is for other things. Now, super complex, animation, maybe After Effects would be great then for that. And I'm using After Effects next week to do a whole project that I know I can't do in Canva. So it's going to have to be there. So I would say that, like, in my thing, simple projects can be cool in Canva, especially if other people need to edit them. But if you're a graphic designer, or you're an editor, or you're like a multimedia design creation person, don't think that you're going to go into Canva and get all of that stuff, but know that you could probably get 80% of the way there. And if 70% of the way there, and if that's fine, like, which a lot of marketing shit is, then sure, you're fine.
So what I'm hearing, if I could summarize your thoughts, it's like, if you're you, which is MFA, you do design,
right?
Like, it's not for you. But they're leaning into the like, Photoshop. Let them go get that 20% that spends thousands of dollars for your. Yeah. We're gonna take everyone else that wants to be this awesome thing, and they can do this thing, and because how much. This is not degrading like what you do, but like how much stuff is being produced at what speed anymore.
Totally.
And like, so they're like, we can just make you throw a bunch of crap out there. It doesn't have to be perfect.
100%. So what it does is it lets those marketers not bother me with their garbage, right? Because they want LinkedIn images, and they want, branded whatever. And like, to be honest, I don't want to work on that. That is like filler material that just takes up time from like cool, big, large scale creative projects that I want to work on. And so in that sense, bless you, Canva, right? Because that is great because I don't want to do that. But then like the complicated projects, great. Then I want to work on those. But I do think Adobe is missing out on that idea of just dumping you into the most complicated UI in the entire world and say, you can create whatever you want. And you're like, 70% of the time, I don't need to create that. I need to create something simple and get it out. And let me start in a simple interface that shows me those, top things, and then use your amazingness like as a background element to figure out that last 20%. And they don't want to do that.
Well, and that's the thing is like, This is Canva taking over. They see the market. They're like, screw you, we're doing the thing, and we're gonna just slowly eat away at your stuff until everything's Canva related.
Until every company goes, do you really need to do it in InDesign because it's wrecking it for everyone else? They need to be able to edit the date.
It's like it's collaborative stuff.
And then they go, and then they go, oh well, sorry, you're doing everything in Canva from now on, and you're not doing anything in Adobe InDesign. And that's what's going to happen if they get too good, right? And
well,
so
they're already they're doing the thing,
and they're raising it up for an IPO. That is the thing that I would say for the price increase, 300% price increase, because they're going for an IPO, like. They want somebody, they want to be able to go on the market and say, look how much we charge everyone, and everyone is super addicted to it. And we raised it 300% and only 10% of people quit. Give us all the money.
I think they're there too. It's like I've been hearing this behind the scenes. It seems like that they're there.
Yep.
It is 9:00.
Let's do it. We've been in for an hour.
We have been in this thing for an hour. Yeah. I am going to do a quick thing because I need to install something behind the scenes. So
really,
hold on just a second here. You were seeing a screen with
a background, two
skull bobs that got stuck behind.
Let me just move those out of here. I'm gonna use the restroom while
Ryan's gonna do that, and I need to. Oh man, I can't remember which one I do. I think. Oh yeah, look at that. We're back up on the screen. That was just a minute. So what we're gonna do is I do want to show you our last little thing before we jump into it. We're gonna play some games in a little bit. So get your phones out, folks. We're gonna get into some gaming in a second. I don't know which game we should play. I was thinking we might do some Halloween themed gaming in a little bit. Specifically, what's that fun one that we did? Oh, sweet. County won. So football game was won by your son. So that's amazing. But what we're about to do is we're going to play our own game in just a bit here. And that game is going to be on Jackbox TV. So we're going to get into that. But before we do that, I wanted to show Ryan something that's a little freaky. And I think y'all will think it's freaky as well because it has some weird implications. And it's not something that I saw would come together. Actually, and it's very interesting. Okay, give me just a second here. All right, here we go. We are going to look about robotic mushrooms. We talked about robotic mushrooms just a bit ago, and what the heck does that mean? And so I feel like I gotta talk to Ryan about this because I want him to see this and I want him to hear about it. Before we get into that, we have a couple things that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. We're going to get into some pixel art. So we are on the Makers channel tonight. So I think we're doing Makers and Crafting. So if you're out there, you were wondering what the hell we're about to do with Makers and Crafting, we're going to get into that. And we're going to use pixel art tonight, which is actually going to be fun. We talked about Canva a minute ago. We talked about Photoshop. We're going down to the simpler times when it was all about pixels and about creating things. And at a very different level of design, not this high resolution 4K, 8K, other kind of things that you're seeing out there. So before we get into that, though, I wanted to end our conversation on mushrooms and the robotic mushrooms that are out there. So I hear Ryan trying to find a water out there. Ryan, get your butt back in here, you punk. I think I know what you're doing back there. He's found a water.
I did find a water.
He found a water. All right. I was vamping for a while to talk about
mushrooms.
This one. Mushrooms that are robotic. Let's take a look at this. They put a mushroom into a robotic body and it learned to walk. Think about that for a second, y'all.
How did it learn to walk?
All right. So I'm going to put this article out there. You can go and see it. This is from the Independent here. And what happens is... So they created a biohybrid machine, and it's a new era of robotics. And so you can get into there, but basically they put this living fungi behind the controls, and then they were using these electrical signals to be able to basically get this. Oh, there's a diaper commercial. Get out of there. So it was responding to certain things like light, heat, other kind of signals that it was putting into it. And so let's watch this video. It's kind of creepy. So in this thing, there's some living fungi, and all it's doing is sending some signals in there.
In the head
into this head thing.
Is where the fungi is?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, Mike Azul. This is Last of Us.
Oh, man.
And so the fungi is doing that.
What? The fungi is doing that in what way?
Let's read it. Electrical signals. And all it's doing is sending the signals. It's not making it happen. The fungi is making those things happen.
Okay.
It learned to walk across a freaking table, bro.
I'm skeptical that it was like doing anything except for just like randomly sending out signals that triggered a robot legs.
All right, I'm not a scientist here, but the idea here is that they've been trying to integrate this. Say, what do you think? It's okay. Is if you wanted to build future robots, how could they work in unexpected environment? So. Yeah, we're all screwed. So they talked about like putting different insights into it and like how would it affect these different things that are happening. So if you have light that hitting it and it's like, oh, I don't want that light to be hitting me. What kind of signals is it going to move to get it out of that kind of environment or move it into different things?
I feel like that's one step away from putting us inside of one of those.
Well, that's what they were saying.
And me being like, I don't like light.
So they were saying
scuttle me away from the light.
If you're growing in bad soil and you're stuck as a thing, you have no way to move out of it. Yeah, they're alive. So vegetarians are gonna have to be like, man, you're done, dang bro. It has a mind.
I gotta switch over to protein supplements, and that's it.
Yeah, what is that made out of? Something, right?
Something.
So I thought the thing was crazy because what they were just saying is that if you take it out and give it mobility and you put different factors on it, oh, this soil is not great. Well, I should try to do something. Like think about a plant that moves and it looks at the sun.
Oh,
and
right.
it turns with it.
Leans towards the sun.
So now you put it with the robotic body, and it's
okay.
like, oh, the sun's over here, so I'm gonna try to get into the sun.
It's more like a pot with legs.
Yeah, essentially,
like that can understand what the plant wants to do under a very limited. You're allowed to lean towards the sun and the rain, and that's it.
Yeah, no. So they were gonna say is like, oh, who said we're drawing, y'all? No, they were trying to say like, think about if you sent some plants to a very harsh environment, you go something to Mars or something like that, and you're like, you can't grow in this one spot. You can grow in this one spot for this amount of time, but you have to actually go 12 feet over there for the rest of the time.
It's like the herds of cactuses are moving across the Arizona desert to their wintering home.
I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go too. All right, let's see some Jackbox. Let me get this all squared away here, and then we're going to get into some Skull Bobs.
I had to take my jacket off. I was like, burn it off.
Oh yeah, you need to
summer.
do that. You need to. Oh yeah, it is summer. It was a cool day today, though. I thought so.
Rainy.
All right. Oh, wait, where's my phone? Oh, there it is. So what's the Jackbox game we're going to play today is the question.
I don't know. It felt like drawing pictures was on the...
You know what we haven't done in a while?
Yeah. What?
Is TKO.
That's true.
Or I was thinking, what was that one that's like the Halloween one that we like? The one where you're answering questions.
Yeah. That was in 5. Or no. That was in the only one that, or the main one that's fun in 5, I feel like, is the
Drawful's been amazing, I gotta say.
Drawful is fun.
Been murder trivia.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to play murder trivia. Let's
Do you get that? Do you get that with the whole
Yeah, everyone can play.
Online crew?
I don't see it in here. Maybe it's in a different version of it. Time Jinx TKO2. Okay, this is 10. All right, hold on. Let's find it. We should have planned this beforehand. Oh, it's 9. There it is. Jack. Oh, I didn't even know I had 9.
No, I don't think it's in this one.
What? Junktopia? What the fish?
I don't know any of these.
Fibbage. Do we never play anything out of this one? Why did I buy 9?
Why do we have 9?
These look all terrible.
I don't know any of these.
I must have like not purchased that one.
Maybe it was in like a little pack. 3?
Oh, do I have 3?
Pack 3?
Oh my god, I have 3. How do I have 3? I didn't even know I had 9 for one.
Murder Party.
There you are.
And the original TKO. This is probably our first one.
This is probably one of the better packs too. All right, we're gonna try murder trivia.
Okay, something different.
Here we go.
Jackbox.tv. Everyone who would enjoy playing. Do you want to change the Twitch thing, or do you just want to roll through it?
We're gonna roll through it.
Okay.
If you're not here to play, you missed. And of course, Shrines in first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, Stealth Bell's got it right before me.
Did she?
VIP.
Oh, I see. She's a bag. You're right.
None of these character skins. Super relevant.
All right, we're gonna give everyone just a few. Oh, there's Becky.
Nice.
Welcome to the game. If you've never played this, there's some trivia coming up here.
Trivia. You got to use your phone.
God, I feel like I'm always so bad at this. I love that little skeleton, the one with the big old head, on the right hand side there.
Bottom right.
No, it's like the one that's in the here. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can't show with the mouse. Okay.
Above the room code.
If you're not jumping in, we got 4 people in.
There's only 5 viewers, so it's like
Oh, Mike Stool is in.
Every single person who is watching the stream is now on Jackbox.
Plus R2.
That's true. That's true.
There's 2 people that are just in there. You can always join later.
That's true.
Here we go.
That's true, because we're both in, but we're not in the stream.
Jackbox Games.
They were on the money. They used Canva to make this.
I'm sure. Who doesn't?
Random squirrel or some sort of marmot.
Something.
Wake up. Wake up. Welcome to Trivia Night, a merciless deluge of pain and suffering. Or at least that's how Parade Magazine described it. I'm going to ask you a bunch of trivia questions. If you get a question wrong, you have to fight for your life in one of my super fun mini-games. If you do badly in the minigame, I'll kill you. But don't worry, ghosts can still win the game. When one player is left alive, we'll go to the final round where the living and dead compete to see who can escape first. Feel free to join the audience if you're some kind of masochist. Audience members get a chance to die too. Listen to me go on and on. Mother always said I love the sound of my own voice filter. Let's play already. Alright, First question. I always call it the Dead Sea, but what name does it also go by? Use your device to answer the question.
I don't know.
It's dead. Why is it dead, y'all?
Time's running out. And the correct answer is... Who got the question right?
Oh, good job.
Hell yeah. It's the saltiest sea out there, y'all.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be so on the nose.
Welcome to the killing floor.
Can I do something?
Let's draw some pictures. Your life depends on your doodle.
Oh, you get drawing. Fun.
Nature. Draw this thing the best you can and press send when you're finished.
You got your drawing stealth mouse. Time's almost up. 3, 2.
2, 1, Becky.
I love that it's in a little like hourglass. Wait.
An artist's work is never done because blah blah blah. Just hit send already.
They should just automatically do it.
Want to know what happens when you don't draw?
No answer.
Oh, you
Man.
exploded.
Makes me angry when your refusal to participate reveals certain inherent flaws in my basic game design. So, please, yeah, don't do that.
That's a good rating.
Here's everybody's scores. Don't get too obsessed with your numbers, though. It's mostly about the killing.
Did it give?
How about this? I have to write a really angry note about the refrigerator to post in the break room at work. What's the largest size standard font option in Microsoft Word?
Oh, Adam.
Do you know what this is? In Word? Oh, it killed Becky. You're a ghost.
Yeah, Becky's a ghost.
Do you know the answer to this?
I mean, that I don't know.
This. Only a ghost got it wrong. Lame. I've got more questions for you. The Panama Canal is amazing. Nerds. I respect anything that cuts something in two. The Panama Canal connects the Pacific Ocean to what body of water?
Crap. I'm bad at this.
Bad at geography.
I'm a bad geography. My son, like, is disappointed in me.
And the correct answer is this one.
Damn it. I told you I was bad at it.
One of you is still alive. Let's play a game.
By myself?
Yeah.
Ah,
For the humiliation.
Welcome back to the killing floor. Being a loser isn't all bad. Losers get to spin the loser wheel.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Don't get all conscientious.
Oh, it's death.
It's mostly death.
Oh,
Death.
What an unexpected result.
Bastards.
You had a chance.
Uh-oh, looks like somebody's a ghosty ghost.
That's what happens when you don't know your geography.
Yeah, exactly.
Ghosts still get
What
to
in
play
the-
and can even
where
win
in
the
the
whole
world
thing
is
in the
Carmen
final round.
Sandiego
You're a
fan
trivia
as a
murder
kid?
party. We believe even the deceased should have a chance to succeed. Another peek at those scores.
Three-way tie.
Let's try another one.
Okay.
Not that it really matters, but... Which Canadian province is furthest west?
Duh.
I don't know. Okay, why do they have to give me geography?
I know, double geography.
I am so screwed.
Man. He's like
I don't
hovering.
even-
His
I don't even
fingers
know.
hovering over things.
I'm wrong.
This one.
Damn it!
Come on.
I knew that!
It's right by Seattle.
Hey, I don't know where I live.
Let's try this again.
You can't kill me anymore, bro.
Who composed Swan Lake?
Do you know this one?
I think it's a
And
Russian.
the correct answer is this.
Damn it! I picked the wrong Russian.
I want to show
Oh no!
you
Wait,
something.
wait. Maybe I did. No, maybe I didn't. I picked the right one.
Let's see who's a wordsmith. Use letters to spell the longest word you can before time runs
Ooh,
out.
I wish I
Ransom
could play
letters
this.
could use a
Nope,
little
Mike
bit
Azul.
more pizzazz.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
and all these other players get to play along.
Oh, we all
too.
get to play.
And if any of them spell a longer word than you will be
Oh
punished.
man, Mike Azul.
Spell words now. By the way, the letters don't have to be touching. And don't forget to press submit when
They
you're
don't
done.
have to be touching. What? Oh, and I only get to do one? Oh, I thought I was doing. Okay, I screwed this up. You get by this time on my guess, Mike Azul.
I'm so excited to see what you come up with.
I thought we were doing multiple. Too bad.
Ooh, let's see what you did there. Let's see if anyone beat you.
Ooh!
Dang,
Place is
sharpen.
Carmen
Sharpen.
Cruiser.
Wow,
I
that
saw
was
that on a
good.
pickup truck with a Pete Calvin sticker.
Don't even show the other ones.
To
I
be
put
fair,
radios.
Predators are supposed
Radios,
to attack
that's
the
a good
weakest
one.
link.
Scrabble. That's usually my thing.
Hey, if any of you are famous, let
second.
me know. I've always wanted to meet a celebrity down here, especially Kristen Chenoweth. She's a firecracker. Alright, next question. What nation's borders do not cross the equator?
Man.
God. Again, I'm terrible at this. My son would be laughing and winning us all. Who knows?
Who picked this?
Dang it. What?
None of us.
Everyone is wrong.
Yeah.
Let's go someplace fun.
Oh, God.
Oh, the people that are
Look at
dead.
this mess. There's blood all over this art. I hope you're a splatter expert. Memorize the pattern of blood.
Oh, God. I'm terrible at this.
Okay, you've had long enough. Reproduce the pattern on your device by tapping on all the spaces that were red. Then press submit when you're done. The person who is furthest from the pattern will die.
You should be good at this, Ryan. You're a pixel
I
generator
know,
for
right? I did think about it in like a, what would this look like? Memorize this as a...
Time is not... Here's that art again. Let's see if you messed it up.
Oh, by 3%. Good job.
Still
Good game. Good game.
You got it 80%. That's a
Oh,
passing.
good. We're
You
just
know?
down to one.
Passing.
It wasn't easy making it here alive, and it won't be easy to escape with your body. I'm going to give you a
Damn.
category. Woodwind instruments. Tap on each answer that fits, then press submit.
I can't.
Oh, yeah.
This is only for stealth.
Let's see the right answers. You move forward
Double.
one space for every correct answer. You're getting real close to the exit. Oh, did I mention that all the other ghosts get to play too? If the ghost catches up to you, then they will steal your body. Then they can escape and win the game. Here's everyone's next question. And ghosts get a third choice to help them catch up to you. Decisions, decisions.
Whoops.
I don't know my
Here's
stuff,
another
man.
one. Played at the original Woodstock.
God. I don't even know some of these names. Somebody that's playing some sweet board games should know.
I know, right? These 60 rockers.
Can you stay out of the shadows? Try dumb moves. Anytime today, kiddo.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The ghosts are catching up.
Uh-oh.
African deserts.
African, huh? I was screwed from the beginning with this much geography.
Oh.
The darkness approaches. Subatomic particles.
Ah, jeez. So many subatomic particles.
Countries that border China.
Good.
I'm going to have to punish my writers.
Stealth mouse.
Still doing good.
Parts of the brain.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh God!
This is so exciting!
They made it dramatic, didn't they?
Hawaiian Islands.
Shit. Stealth mouse, good job. Good job.
Took it. That was intense ending.
Yeah.
Jeez, good job, folks.
Stealth mouse never let up.
Yeah, murder champ
Champ.
for sure.
Bowser revenge.
You know what I hated most about that? It's my exposure of my bad geography.
You're like the exposure of my ignorance.
I have to like clear my mind out for other things, Ryan, like
Sure.
programming games.
Exactly. I think you're better for it.
Oh,
I always thought
I feel
like
so bad about that.
have you ever thought about like would you do well on like a Jeopardy or something like that?
God,
Is that
no, I
no?
would be terrible
No.
at that.
What is there a game one of those Price is Right, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune type games that you would want to go on?
None of them. I feel like I would be terrible. We're gonna play one drawful as a bonus level for Stealth Mouse winning the game.
Okay.
And then we're going to jump into some of our next steps for the night. All right, to the play. Trying to make out the VIP.
Hello. Okay. Is everybody in?
Becky is drawing her character.
Drawing her character. Okay, Becky, you get like 5 more seconds.
Look at, I did an earth.
You did an earth. I did a tree man.
Boom!
like it.
It's drawful time. I like it when there are 5 players because then there are just 2 rounds of terrible drawings. Let's get away from this menu screen, huh? All
Okay.
right. If you look at your devices right now, you should see a secret prompt just for you. Something kind of weird, like Slimer or Queen Rabbi. Draw a picture on your device that would have that title, and when you're done, hit send. You'll get points for each player that can correctly guess your title, so get to it.
It's a hard one, I'm gonna tell y'all.
Hello.
I feel like it's harder when they put it on this 5 mode.
I enjoyed my drawing. I feel like it. Sometimes I feel like that eraser is I start something and I go, that wasn't the right way to start this, and then I can't do anything about it. Kills me.
30 seconds left, y'all.
I
Come
feel
on,
like this
know
time-
your drawing isn't that. now that I've got all your
It
drawings,
was so
it's time
hard.
for some
Like
fun.
you have what's in your mind,
Right.
and then what you do is like that was not what's in my head.
Now, use your device to type in whatever the heck the prompt for this drawing could be.
Hello.
Here are your choices. Try to pick the real title and avoid all the garbage everyone else typed in.
Hello.
And here are your picks.
Okay. Crush my poker table.
Damn it. Good job, Stealthy.
That was good. Oh, yes. Nice.
Good job.
That was good. You tell it's a good drawing when the majority of people get it. And I like that it gives you more points for that.
Let's take a look at our next drawing. Enter your titles now.
Hello.
It's a good drawing.
Quick, type in anything.
This is your drawing, Adam.
This is my drawing. It's hard though.
Okay, here are your choices.
There's two good ones here.
Pick anything.
Hello.
Let's see what people picked.
Hello.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I got the decoy.
Damn it. It was hard. So close.
Good job, Stealth. I almost did. Man, that is
Easily
tough.
the most attractive feature on a guy.
Because isn't it breaking in the background though?
He's breaking something, so they're unbreakable.
Oh, I
The
see.
elbows are
I
unbreakable.
see. You know, I get it.
I was hard.
It's hard. That's a hard one.
Type in a convincing title now.
Hello. This could be so many things.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
fun.
Hey, I'm serious. Time is up. Oh! And here are your choices.
Hello.
Nah, I'm second guessing my chick.
Oh!
Pick.
And here are your picks.
Good job. Good job. I was second guessing it right as soon as I
Right when you saw it.
Man,
Good
great
job.
That's great. Me and you tied for last place.
We've been like doing some epic runs on this. It was time for one of us or
And
both of
now,
us to lose.
this one.
Hello.
Come on, typing time is almost up.
Oh.
And here are your choices.
Oh.
Oh man, I'm mistaking
Second
my guess
answer.
now.
Hello.
And here are your picks.
Son of a bitch. As soon as you see it come up the first time,
You know.
you're done.
Ah!
That
Oh!
was it. Nice. Great job. Oh, man.
She is killing it tonight.
I'm in the basement now, for sure.
And it's on fire.
That's it, right? Isn't that the end?
Nope. We have one more drawing to draw.
Okay.
Oh, I mean that.
That's right. It's mine.
Next up,
Oh.
hurry up, people. Just type something in. Here are your choices.
It's almost like you don't want to guess the right one,
Right.
because then the other person gets the
Pick
points, but
something.
you're rewarding them.
Yeah.
You need to do that.
Yeah. If you think you know what it actually is.
Oh.
Okay, who picked what?
Good job.
Nice.
Still not pulling even
She
further.
is
ahead.
like killing it. Ah,
Come on, everyone. That's it. man.
it is, yeah. All right,
Does it
that's
look like
good.
musical theater people?
Hell yeah, they do. Well, it's because of the lights.
Yeah. Because I knew I had to do like the very first thing I did was the lights, and then I was like, oh, I need like the stage curtains.
Damn, that is a high
Okay,
score
it's
for.
drawing time again.
Oh.
30-second warning. Finish up and hit send. This game will be a lot less fun if you don't get your drawing in.
Ding. 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 Ding.
Hello.
I got your drawings. Some of them are a total mess. I love it.
That makes
Let's
sense.
see the first piece of art.
Voice acting in this is great.
Type in a title now.
Hello!
A room full of Molotov cocktails?
Quick, type in anything.
Love the tree, the mouse. It kind of all have like a theme going on
Right,
today.
it's very earthy. It's very earthy theme.
And here are your choices.
Oh.
Hello!
And here are your picks.
Damn it!
Hello!
You bastard! I second guessed it too.
It's gotta be
Yeah.
attic candles, right? Because it looks like the attic
it's
floor.
it's gotta
going
be attic
down.
candles.
It's
It's gotta
attic
be.
candles.
Good
Yes.
job. I was gonna go for it, and then I just was like, no, it looks
Bailed
cozy.
on it, huh?
Yeah. Take your first choice, y'all.
Good job.
Good job, y'all. I'm in dead
Pulled
last.
into not last.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our next drawing. Come on, typing time is almost up.
Oh.
Hello!
And here are your choices.
These are some good answers, y'all. Damn.
Oh.
Come on, pick one.
Hello!
Let's see what people picked.
Singing nail.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ding.
Suckers!
Hello!
You spelled aerobics wrong.
Did I?
Damn, finally, somebody got me. Yeah.
Gotcha, Adam.
You know, it's a federal offense if you steal his moves.
Oh, Jesus.
Sweet.
Still dead last.
Third. I moved up to tie for third. I take this very seriously.
I know you do.
Enter your titles
It's like-
now. Hey, I'm serious. Time is up. Okay, here are your choices.
Oh.
And here are your picks.
Oh, it shows up. Oh, I thought that was so good. That was a good one.
No.
Hello!
Reverse vomiting. That is a hard one.
How do
What
you
the
do
heck?
reverse vomiting?
Upchuck was great.
Yeah, Upchuck is really good. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Up next,
Man.
Hello.
come on. Typing time is almost up. And here are your choices.
Hello.
Sometimes it could be more fun to do one for like a random, you know, like one that doesn't have an
Any button.
exact.
And here are your picks.
Man.
Stealth, you are like on fire tonight.
Oh.
Knew it. They're on the tree. It's a close up and then on the tree. See, me and Becky are simpatico.
I don't think we've had that high of scores. 11,000? It's probably one of the higher scores we've had.
Type in a convincing title now. Quick, type in anything.
Oh.
Hello.
Here are your choices.
Ooh.
Hello.
There's one that I almost wrote and somebody else wrote it, or it's the real one, so I'm gonna choose that one just because I was like, that's what I almost wrote.
Oh.
And here are your picks.
Damn
Son of a
it.
bitch.
Oh,
I almost wrote that. I almost wrote that.
Yeah.
All right. That must be the real one.
Oh.
Oh man. Wow.
It was it.
Dry heat.
Oh, it wasn't.
Wow. That was tough. Maybe like heat lines.
Yeah.
You know,
That
I
was
feel
great.
like you need-
Hello.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, by quite a
Good,
bit.
good
Man,
job.
I slipped down to third.
Double wins tonight.
Yeah, man.
That was amazing, everyone.
Always the most liked. I feel like you get that quite a bit.
Interesting.
You get that quite a bit of the time.
Winner,
job.
chicken dinner. My goodness.
job.
Good job, everyone. That was a fun one tonight.
That's
So
great.
it is. I love that there's a bunch of games. I wish there was like a way you could take a pack of them and put them all into the one. Like
think-
the
I think they-
TKO. I mean, I guess there's just buy everything because there's some that are not that great.
But I think they announced like a launcher, right? So all you would do is be like, I just opened the Jackbox launcher,
Oh.
and then it has all my purchases of all the things, and then I just have a giant thing of every single Jackbox game that I've ever owned.
Well,
I don't know why they don't do that. If they aren't doing that, I think I heard that. But anyway, super fun. I always like those.
are we ready
Let's do
to
it
talk about the game tonight?
Yep. We got an hour 20.
All right, this is the perfect amount. So if anybody was to join and actually see where we're at, we've been talking about the game for a bunch of time. That's what this is the headliner for today. Is there's a major kind of change in next step. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the game and show a little bit of what I
Great.
created in this last week. I didn't load it on a game system yet, but what we're going to focus on is actually some of your work and some of the things that you can create. I think is going to be awesome for a little bit later tonight.
Well, I feel like we'll talk about what's going to go into that like next stage of this.
Well, but there's some things we can do tonight in pixel creation mode, and I think from an Sprite perspective, I wanted to like show you if we took one of your graphics that we had and put it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it on that screen. I'm going to get the layout all set up again so we can get in the right place. All right, here we go. Here, maybe. Aha. All right, so we have seen this a gazillion times, the different pieces and parts. So what I'm doing is I'm building the game right now. But one of the first things that you might notice is Ryan has created kind of the new
little Skull Bob's logo.
So I think that looks great, right?
Totally.
So one of the things that I've been working on, and I spent a lot of time, so Stealth Mouse, congratulations on your win. Here's also what I've been working on as you've been looking at this. I want to go over here. Here is our new breakdown of our different menus. So it might look a little different. If you've seen it, it's like incremental, but there's been a lot that goes on with these menus. So you're going to see over here you have these different options for the game itself. What I also love is that I put a little, here's how you play the game. So I meticulously created these little like fun things which I thought were fun to create, but now the stages are gonna be a little bit different in a minute. We're gonna have all kinds of new things that we can integrate into our game.
Where does that option screen go where it shows you how to the like this one?
Yeah.
So is that menu? No, I guess it would be menu and then options.
Yes. Okay. It is menu and options. So it takes a while. We just transitioned over to 4.1.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to kind of give you an example of is if you look at this loadout screen right now, what's interesting about it that you're seeing? Well, I guess it looks similar to this one. We've seen this before, is that we got numbers in each of these little cells. And so all these little boxes before, it used to just be there's a little bat on here and you can be able to do some things. It takes a while to build a game for the first time, by the way. The debugger's not showing, but the build is happening. So if you look in this upper right hand corner, usually the first build takes like 5 minutes since we moved it into that. So what I wanted to show you, though, is how you use this menu, and we're going to go through some of the game and play it, and I wanted to get some feedback. And so if you haven't played the game, what I wanted you to do, or if you can play it, is play it through, give us some feedback on things. On this version, apparently I didn't upload it so you could see it today, is in between these, I also have a load game. So you can save the game and load it from wherever standpoint you're at. But I don't have it in this version, apparently. I didn't upload that piece of it.
Okay.
But it's pretty fun because now you can save a game at any state, anywhere you're at, and load from that state. You can exit the game completely to go to the menu.
Nice.
We have the full stage map working. This loadout screen, I spent a copious amount of time on, and that's really what I want to show everyone.
Okay.
And then the game itself, you're going to notice that I started to get back into color mode. And so we're going to talk about color mode for just a second while we're waiting. But one of the things that I need you to start to think about is I created these new things. And so I called it a couple things. There's like an alien or an actor alien tone. So if we go to this one, we're just saying like, this is generally what the aliens color is going to be. We're not going to get to the point where like, oh, I want his hair this color and his body this color, but you can get like he's more orange and he has this like kind of almost human-y looking flesh skin, but it still has alien enough. Then we have our dark tone. I'm making the pitch that D is black. And so I made it like a sweet version of her, and I wanted to show you that. We got our health meter that's in there.
Yep.
There's this new piece to the HUD I wanted to show you too. And then there are light-toned characters. And so what you can do, and what I made this work, is we can easily turn the game to all just green if we want to. Like, that's an easy way to make that happen. But I also coded it to where if we turn on some of the colors, we can turn the game on and you can actually make it colorful.
Cool.
And so there's still some other stuff where we need to like paint the world, and I'll show you that in a minute.
Yeah.
So how you turn the game colors on and off, and I'll get to that, is behind the scenes in the settings, you'll notice that I can go here and I can turn everything back to this first default and just turn all these colors to default. If you put the colors in this exact order here, it will turn it into the various colors that are part of the game.
Okay.
So you're going to get to see a version of it where color starts to come back into the game, and I think it looks pretty good. So without any further ado, let's take a look at what the game looks like now. So there's a couple things that I got in there. So you got the development mode, and I'm just going to go into development mode for a second just to see what that looks like. So first of all, Roby looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
He has that little color. You got a rat running around. But in development mode, you're going to notice two other things that are in there. And what do you see aside from a rat running and Roby in the scene?
So the hearts at the bottom, right, with their
Yeah.
little spot, and then up at the top left, like two icons.
2 dots. So one of the first things is if you went to the development screen in the past, you couldn't get out of it. You have to like restart the game. So now you can go to the options and you can say like exit the game. So you say, yep, do you want to exit? And I also even put the like nice UI where it's like if you accidentally hit it doesn't exit
Sure,
it. It's
yeah.
like, no, you have to like do
No,
it
you have to
twice to
do
make
it.
sure you do that.
Cool.
Restarts game. So that
Great.
way we can start using the develop mode.
Yeah.
You could jump out and you can do some things. We're going to
What
go.
would you use development mode for?
Yeah, it's the development mode is so okay. Yeah, it's a great question. So let me get out of this and explain it this way. So when we get to the game, thanks for the heart connector piece, like a
Yeah.
heartbeat. Yes,
Yeah.
that was intentional, very intentional. I'm glad you saw that. So if you're in this mode, at this screen behind the scenes in the code, it loads every variable to reset and start the game and get it all squared away to go. So the pain in the ass before is like, you're like, oh, the things don't work or the heart doesn't work or something doesn't work with Roby.
Okay.
So if you go to this menu and you go and edit the development screen, so you want to go create a demo level for yourself, you just create it on that development screen, you restart the game, you come here, you go to development, and it will start your level that you want.
Okay.
So it's a way for you to like say, I want this to be this other level I want to work on for a while,
Yeah.
get it all squared away, and then we can integrate it into the full game.
Okay, cool.
So that's a nice thing.
Perfect.
So with the little heart, if he goes in there, every time he gets hit, I made it to where like they're not just 3 hearts, but it's like little spaces that those hearts are holding on to.
Yeah.
And the little heartbeat at the end to just like give it the kind of like, this is your
Totally.
health thing.
No, that's great.
So he has like the reason why he walks through you for one time is because he like you have a cooldown. So there you go.
Nice.
And you die, game over, game starts. Okay. So that's the first
Great.
step.
Love it.
So the next step is we're in the game and we start in the bar. I think like sweet place to start at Skull Bob's. You're in
Sure.
the bar. I put a little bounce to D, so she's kind of like walking, so she feels
sure.
like she's taking steps.
Totally.
Because before she looked like
she was roller skating.
she was
across.
gliding. And so I thought so thanks to Heather for the I guess the purple, because we were like, yeah, that's sweet. So there it is. So she has this, and then if you go through the level, you have all the normal stuff. Everything's like on now, so you can turn on like music, change
Okay.
that. You could do some of that work. So at this point, you really can't do much. But I did say, like, I was testing something and I made a new enemy. So one of the enemies, if you go over here far enough, you're going to see a little spider that's crawling down the ladder. He's coming for
Okay.
you, like, don't come at me. And then, so if you get hit, you're going to get hit by the little
Sure.
spider. So you got that. But if you try to go into these rooms, you're going to get like, this is glug, 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 something's going on. So I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to D. So I'm going to kind of narrate.
I was gonna maybe on that slide I would want talk first, and then exit.
So you would think that, but the
Yeah.
reason why I swapped it is because you hit that so often that you get back in the talk cycle.
Oh, okay.
And so it's all like UI
Yeah.
to where if I'm running around and I'm like, oh yeah, I just talked to her, and then you're, oh crap, I don't want to talk to her again. It exits out.
the
So
the first thing is exit.
yeah, because if you're,
Alright.
it's like when you're hitting it and you're doing it a lot. Because I had a lot of
Sure.
thoughts on that. It was exit and leave, and I agree with you. I thought of that
Okay.
first. From a UI perspective, it works.
Sure. No.
So first of all, she gives you a mission. She's like, go find out what that stink is in this level. And so let's just say you figure out like, well, what happens if you hit select and you go here? You can go look at the map. I think we had this last time.
Yeah.
So if you go there, you look at your items. This is different now because
Okay.
it's like, here's 3 stages. So you can go to all the stages. It might give you some hints, but you won't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out there's five items in each stage that you're going to get.
Okay.
So there's 5 stages. So here's where the loadout menu starts to get really interesting. Before, it just had something in this slot. But how it works is you can't go down. And I was trying to think from a UI perspective, how is the quickest way to be able to say, like, I want this loadout and I want to select, like, I want the gun, I want the jump, and then I want to, like, take this power up or just exit the game.
Okay.
So right now, if I went over to the side and I hit like this, and I was like, I want this one, and hit it, there's nothing there. So you have to, hit.
sure.
So when you hit, you'll see in just a second how this works, but I'm going to get out of it for now, and I'll show you in a minute of what that looks like. I'm not sure why I just went back to the demo screen, but that might be a glitch that I'm going to have to work on in a second, because that should not have happened. Hold on a second. Let me go to exit game, and I have to restart because it should not go to that. So that we found a bug already. So I'm hoping that this whole version is not going to screw it because of this. So if I go into, and we can change it in a minute and check it if that's the case. So you got to talk to her. She says it stinks. Let's go and take a look at something over here. So we got to go say, ooh, the bathroom stinks. Somebody did something. And we're going to go talk to D. She's going to give us the bat. And we're going to see if that glitch is still there in a second. So I'm going to skip a lot of the stuff. And she gives you the bat. Now look in the upper left-hand corner when she gives you the bat. Now it shows that you got the bat.
Okay.
And it shows that there's still something else you can get. So if I go back into the loadout screen, I know what I did. This is an older version of the game where I have it actually load some other things. I have another version that I didn't load, but this is fine for tonight just to show you how some things work.
Sure.
And this is actually great because now we don't have to beat a bunch of the game to see how this would work.
Yeah.
So let's say I went to the bat and I want the bat. So I hit that, goes to the next level. You pick what you want, next level, and power up. And then you're back in the game. And now, in this case, I have the bat and I have what did I grab? The double jump. So imagine you went through the game and you collected all those items.
Yeah.
And you're like, I need to do kind of a hot swap. You're like, I don't want the double jump right now. I need the dash right now. So you hit this guy, go to loadout, and you're like, bat, this.
Right.
And now you're like,
Yeah.
now I have the dash and the bat. Or you're like, you know what? I'm just going to run around and explore the game. So you go to loadout and you're like, dun, 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 and now you have nothing.
Would you ever need nothing?
So if you want to sprint in the game, having nothing will allow you to sprint a lot easier.
Okay.
So you can hold a button and you just like sprint and you run through areas.
Yeah.
So it's a quick way for you to be able to not, because if you put in like your bat, so if you go load out and you're like, I want bat, but no specials, because I'm going to just like jump around without any kind of thing. So anytime you start to sprint or anything, you have to throw that bat around. So the idea is, and of course we can make some additions or
Yeah.
subtractions to this, is it's a quick way to say, here's the loadout. Now on the right-hand side, I haven't done this yet. You could say like, you have the bat and you have this, and then here's maybe a power-up that you'd have. So a quick way to be able to go between
So like,
weapons.
I would see it as like when you moused over something, it would tell you about it.
Absolutely.
So
we
like
can
you
totally
would,
do
you would
something
go over
like
the
that.
weapon of the bat, and it would be like cricket bat gotten from grandpa's, something. And then when you go
I
down
love
to
that.
the thing, yeah.
I didn't know what to do with the rest of the space. I think you just nailed what we need to do. So this screen could have like a top part that would say like currently selected, and then a little description of what that thing is.
Yeah.
And so this is the menu we're going to work on in a little bit, and we're going to talk about how you can make that happen.
Ooh, stats.
Ooh, that is
I don't know
right.
I don't know how to do that.
No,
but-
you would just say like you can hit, like it takes one hit on two
right.
hits on an enemy,
Yeah.
and it's like it's strong at melee but terrible at
Plus,
distance or
yeah.
something like that. That is absolutely what you could do. And so what's kind of cool about it is that it makes it so you can get into the menu quick. So apparently I know what I did on that. We're gonna get out of it. Is that I have this thing where if I hit select, let me go back to the menu. I'm kind of disappointed because I didn't put the latest version in, but it only has a save game component. But what I have right here is if I hit select when I'm on this, I'm gonna find it. Let's see here, restore scene. Hit select. Here. Restore first scene on stack. Oh, it's probably because I went into that first scene. I gotcha. I got to go fix that a little bit later. If you go straight into the game, it won't ever do that. But there's some challenges that I needed to fix with that because I went into the scene, it saved it, and then I got out and I restarted the game, and it thinks like, oh, that's the first scene that you always want to load in the future. But here's the things that I wanted to work on is you have these icons here, and so this, if we go and open it, and we're going to open it in A-Sprite, this is what I need you to help with, and this is going to be your next step. So if I went to background layers, and there's going to be all the different layers we have. So loadout is the current version. So we're going to open it in A-Sprite. This is what you get in A-Sprite. And I think from your lens, you'd be like, well, don't you put the icons here on these things? And the answer would be no. We can put some cool like frills around here, anything, but these blocks, you'll notice they're perfectly in these 8 by 8. So what you want to be careful of is not to touch this because 0, 0, 0, 1, this makes each of these individual tiles unique on this entire page. There's no other tile on this grid that has 0, 0 on it. And so why that's important for me is when we go back into the game, what we're basically saying, and this is where I'm spending a crap load of time, is on each one of these things, it's like load this map, and then the cursor lands on this little trigger. And then when you go over to the side hand, and you don't need to remember this, I just want to explain it for a second. But what happens, it's basically saying, hey, when that little character lands on this trigger, stop all the scripts. Don't let it move. Don't let that thing move around. And then you can activate your right button, your A button, or your select. So if you hit to the right, you'll make, and so if you go down, the first thing is if you hit select, go back to the first menu. That's what that does. If you hit to the right, go like move the character over to this other little like trigger.
Right, like the character is the cursor.
And you're right. And so if you were to go into the menu, you can see that this is a little selector. Yeah. So that's what the character is. So essentially you're basically saying stop here, let that little character like animate because it's a little animation thing, but don't let it move, and you're stuck here and we're waiting for one of these buttons to be pressed. So then if you hit like, well, I can't remember what the other one is. Oh, if you selected something, then it would go down to the next one. So to do that for every button you have to program every possible move for where that button would go. Yeah. But here's where I need your help. If you click on the scene itself, what starts the scene off is you have to be able to show like a weapon, and then you have to be able to show something else. Let's see here. Let's take a look here. Slot 3. Okay. So in each of the weapons, let's go here. The very first one is I wanted to look at Cricket Bat, load out tiles. So if you look at Cricket Bat and you highlight here, this one square is, and if I highlight over it, you'll see down at the bottom left-hand side, it says 4, 4.
Yeah.
So I'm saying at 4, 4, swap this one single tile.
Yeah. The top
this
left
title.
Drawing.
So
of the
I
bat.
basically had to create this entire thing that says on slot 1, I need you to do 4 things. And I called it border, but it should be something else. It's like swap this tile, this tile, this tile, and this tile.
Oh, okay.
And what it's basically saying is like, hey, we got this default state that you would want it to do. So I'm saying I'm setting the value to 0, and you're like, default state is 0. When you pick something up, it turns it into the second state, which is the Cricket Bat that you want to show there. So then I have another little thing that says, okay, swap it to this then now if it's on value 1 versus value 0.
Yeah. Well, and so at any point, can you sort of copy things over and then just switch out sort of the variables in it? Like, or how, or once you have this sort of set up, will it be easier to sort of switch in different pictures, or is that really hard too?
To swap in different pictures?
Like, so let's say we put one in there and then we're like, nah, we don't like that one. Like, it looks stupid in there. I want to switch it out for a different one. Is that really hard?
So I think what you do is you go and you create this menu, put a layer over it. If we go back into this, and you just put in a bunch of pictures as to what you think it should look like. But I see what you're saying. Like, no, it's not it's not hard. So I did all the work. It's done. You don't have to do any of this. So here's how you would change this. Let me give you an example. Yeah, it's a great question. So if I go into Sprite here, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna open up. And it's probably easier to do it this way. If you go into the assets. You don't have to get in the game to do any of this. All you have to do is work in your assets folder. Go to the Sprite folder, in this case, tile sets. So if you go into the tile sets, they're going to be all the ones. So the bat, let's work with the bat one, for instance. Or you'll notice like there's specials for, let's do specials for weapons first. I'll open this one. So if you jump in, you do have to do it in one line. So you have to be a little creative on how this works. You can go create it elsewhere outside of this, and then you'll have to copy it in. So W is the weapons one.
Yeah.
So didn't you create something already out there?
Yep.
All right, let's take a quick peek because I'm going to load that up and then we're going to pull it in. So back over here, it's in sprites.
And then UI.
Sweet. And that was what? Element or inventory?
I don't remember.
All right, we're going to pull both of them down. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap this, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm doing it in such a way that it's not, let's see here. I'll get both of them. Oh, one was inventory menu. I got you. That was the menu. This is the right one right here. So desktop. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open this one. Oops. Can't open it until it's loaded in. So this is what would you say is the default for weapons? Is there one that you would have for weapons? For default out of your list?
Yeah, I mean they're sort of labeled, but maybe weapon 7.
Let's see here, weapon 7 question mark.
No,
It's 5, 4. I know you had one that was like a question or like a. It almost doesn't matter at this point. If let's say you picked any. Okay, there's some interesting ones.
See, now you have like multiple on though, and that's why you're seeing it. So I think what I did is I had one of the star ones, but with an exclamation point was weapons.
Oops, I opened multiples. This one?
But then it had an exclamation point.
I don't know if you had an here.
So this was very so that would be, I was thinking that would be weapons because I had it as specials for a while, and then I was like, that doesn't make
so this
exclamation point should be.
So we're saying this is the default though before you select anything, right?
Yeah, like those would just all be there,
Okay.
and then we get uncovered by what is the actual thing that you're going to do.
So here's the cool part about this. I go to this layer, and I just copy this. Okay, copy this piece right here, and I'm gonna go out to this loadout, this one that I was waiting for like something for you to do. So I'll do new layer, and I'm gonna just paste. Let's see here. Did I not paste the right? Oh, that was the background layer. I see what I did. It's special, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, perfect. So I'm gonna copy that out, and I'm gonna paste this. Why is it executing bad things, Ryan? I think you're, let's see, I want to try one thing. I think it's because your color mode is indexed. RGB, there we go. So everything's RGB, at least in mine. So I'm going to paste that on that layer. That's that first top part. And then let me grab this bottom part. Copy that. And paste the bottom portion. On this thing, I've already made the icon. You just have to load out weapon, which is the default. Then I'll turn off this background border. And so if we were to put and stack those on top of each other, they would be the thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll save it. I just got to export it, and I got to put it over the tile set. I'm just going to put it in the tile sets folder. So if you were opening something in tile sets Sprite, when you export the PNG, it just goes into the regular named folder.
Okay.
So I'm just going to save it, overwrite what that looks like. And then with any luck, if I go back in the game, which I haven't touched a single thing in the coding of the game whatsoever. Hopefully this build will take a lot less time. Is that when I load that now, all those 3 things, here, and here, will load that new graphic.
Okay.
And so then you would just put that on repeat. You go in here and you say, okay, well, there's the loadouts. What, okay, we're in the backgrounds here. Sorry, we got to go back into the tile sets. So you have loadout, and then I have the individual ones. There's like the double jump, the power up, the specials, but you have loadout weapons. Okay. And then there's one called loadout, I think specials. No, loadout power ups, specials, and weapons. Those are the 3. And then the individual loadouts, I did put loadout at the beginning so they knew they were all part of the loadout. Let's get this going. Show you. All right. So now it updated that one pretty easy. So that's what the default would be.
Yeah. Before you found anything. I was also, after I did it, I was like, you know what, it should probably just be a shadow outline of whatever the actual thing is going to be.
I was thinking the same. So if I go just to see it, you wouldn't have to adjust any of the logic. I should be able to go right back over to it. Oh, we didn't get the thing. I got to talk to her. Get my bat.
Okay, nice.
And it auto swaps that out. It's like you don't have to do anything. So when it's in that mode, it's nothing. I kind of like it. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then you just do that for every other piece that's in there. So what I guess I'm getting at is most of the work that you can do from an artistic standpoint is you might be like, all right, I want to adjust this screen for whatever reason. So let's
I did that one.
You did. So let's do it. So if I go to the assets,
how does it work with being in the background versus the foreground? Can I put things in that are over, on some of the other screens, there's lots of UI going on, but I basically can't touch anything within those 16 by 16 number tile sets, right?
Yeah, you can put anything around it. So this is a moment. So if you see these orange things over something, that means pretty much don't touch it.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do it in a different area. Can you overload the exit option with the B button in the dialog and then make talk the primary selection? I might be able to do that.
Because that's sort of like Fallout does that, right? If you get into a thing that you don't want, you just hit B and then it sort of goes okay, I want to stop talking.
That's a great question. And these are the little feedback things that I think I think I could probably just have it dip out of dialogue. They just gave a dialogue update to make that work because that would be awesome. I'm trying to think because if you use A, it speeds through it. Yeah, still have an exit option, but B could do it too. So if you get into it, you're able to just dip out of it. I think that could actually work. All right, let's open one of these things, one with a bunch of these icons on it. Let's do the loadout screen. Maybe that one is a fun one to do. So here's our loadout screen, and let's say that you did want to adjust something on this. Now, if you're just playing with this and trying to say how would stats look on here? What should that look like? You literally can come in here, and I kind of did it. The text is very special in the sense that it fits perfectly in here because I'm working with sprite limits here. So we may have to discuss what's the font we want to use if you want to start doing that. But technically, every single thing that has not a number on it is game for you to put some sweet graphics. Yeah, it's background. So if I go, I'll just put a new layer on this one, and let's take
including the X's.
You could use the X's too because I never load those dynamically. Those are different. So let's just say I put this guy, and this is just an example. We're not going to necessarily do this, and I put that, over here.
Yeah,
that's fine. You can put that, save the game, but it's just there all the time.
It's a
forward.
background.
It's a background. So I think one that would be better to kind of show it off on was let's open up.
And is there enough memory or whatever to make that side area dynamic so that when you click on the cricket bat, it tells you about the cricket bat?
I think we do. I think we have enough.
Okay.
So I'm going to open the UI. This is the menu that you created something for. So over here and on the desktop, I think I downloaded what you created for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was UI inventory menu?
I think.
you named it. Yeah, yeah, perfect. You already had the whole menu there, so that's perfect. So this is great. This is a perfect one. Is it? There's the buttons. Oh, did you put it on multiple levels?
Oh, I wasn't trying to, but I might have at some point.
Oh, yeah, the Skull Bob's logo.
Yeah.
The ledger.
I must have
in the background.
I must have added accidentally the green to the background.
Let me do
There
this.
we go.
So I'm just gonna merge flat and visible. I think that will be enough for now. So I'm gonna copy out this piece, and since I'm already working on this inventory here, I'm just gonna put a new layer,
Thanks, Mike.
paste it on there. Perfect. So this is actually great, because we were trying to do is like, here's the note of what your next mission would be
Yeah.
if you were gonna do that. So we just loaded it onto the in-game version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will export as and put this into the backgrounds layer. Hopefully you're like kind of catching on. Like I'm basically opening the A sprite and then just exporting and saving. What I would suggest you do is just like add new layers and label them and then turn the other layers off in case we like mess something up. Then you could always get back to where we're at before.
Sure.
So back in the game, you already got your sweet thing loaded.
Nice.
And here's the thing you can always do. If you click on this graphic, over in the background layer, it'll tell you how many tiles you're using. And you can have up to 192.
Okay.
So we're at 75. We have plenty of room to grow this and make it look sweet or do little other things to it.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do next.
Yeah, my idea was that this is sort of the generic one, but as we built out a story or something like that, those like card or those things like tucked into there might be like significant, lore pieces or something like that, or a picture of D, or I don't know what it is, right? Or
Like
the
in
grandpa's, like just sort of like things tucked in is, because I sort of think of it, Roby as kind of like, the halfway or like guy running the bar, and so he's important. He helps run the bar, but it's kind of like just a shitty tourist trappy bar, but he's got to take notes and sort of figure out what's going on. So this is kind of like little like a like a waiter's notebook that he keeps in his back pocket.
I think you're nailing it. So check it out. We go to the screen. It already looks amazing.
Nice.
Just that whole thing. That's why I was trying to reserve it, because before when it was just that big thing in the middle, it was bad. This is like now starting to give a vibe to the game, which I think really looks good. So I wanted to see something with the map too, like what goes around on the map. Are there like little like elements and cool things? And then every map, you can have multiple maps now.
Right, because I was wondering, like, if we start adding more rooms to that, how is that going to work with the map? Is it now we're going to switch to a different, and it's going to show
It'll just be a brand new map. You can have, so we'll have like, it'll almost be like they're just different screens, and you're just like, hey, just load this other map screen if we go to it.
Right.
So I love this. This is just looking great, and
that looks great.
We could do something over
totally.
here.
Like I don't feel like that would need that much to be like just a cool menu screen.
And the loadout screen, like what do we, so then we just gotta, now this one's going to be harder because we're going to have to dynamically load things into this based off what you have selected. This is probably our most complex menu in the entire game is this one, because think about it this way. What you're doing is you're selecting something here. It's showing something here. Then it's telling the rest of the game to like, okay, now you're collecting that thing. Now you're going to have that thing in your inventory, and it's going to show in the HUD. So this is really complex to get it to show all the things on the map and show it here.
Yeah, because I was trying to think, like, I think I would want when you just select over the top of it, it would show on the right? So you'd be like, jump, dash, like gun, and it would just sort of bring those up onto the right hand side. And then when you selected it, it should highlight in some way or something like that, so I have this one, and this one like chosen as you leave.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
I think that's the cool part, is that the logic is generally there, because now I just have to say, like, if you go over this, go do this thing on this other side.
Yeah.
And flip all these tiles.
And do
out.
we get all those lettering for free?
No.
Weren't you saying that, like, so let's say we have to add in an alphabet to this area? Is it like that, or I'm generating it off of a text, or is it just like, hey, this is a fully unique thing of talking about the cricket bat versus the gun?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Every text matters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild this
All
game.
text matters.
Yeah. But when you get into here, check this part out. If you turn debugger on, this is a new thing. I don't know if you use debugger at all, but you have to kind of turn it on. Then you say run the debugger. And what it will do is it will show you every single tile that's being used on whatever screen you're at any given time.
Okay.
And it also lets you change. Hey.
Yay.
Thank you for
Thank you.
following us there. Gray Hat Zebra, how you doing tonight? Thanks for jumping in.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging out.
So what I'm hoping to do is it's loading a lot of those background pieces, and one of the things that I think you're going to see here is how helpful this is. This was a new one as of 4.0, or maybe even just before. So see how all this stuff came up on this left-hand side? Think about this as a grid of saying, this is every tile you could use at one time on the screen.
Okay.
And so on this menu, here is every little tile that you're using, including every little piece and part of that.
Okay.
And it gets pretty interesting because as you start the game, you're going to notice it changes as you kind of go around and different things are on the screen. Well, no, this is one map, but if I go on this map, it changes to that.
Yeah.
So you're basically being able to see.
I don't know how. I think I have seen this. I see it running sort of off to the side when I'm running around. My only thing is how helpful is that? What are you supposed to do with that information?
So there's a couple things. First of all, if this screen is full up, you realize, well, crap.
And I'm looking to be it's filled up with a bunch of garbage that I don't need.
Yeah,
but it feels like it's hard to even tell what is garbage and what's not.
Think about it almost like as a visual way to represent how much memory or how much stuff that you're using in a particular map. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing too is if you start using these variables, there's this variable thing. So on the fly, you can swap variables and then it affects what's happening in the game. So if you're see his health is at 6 right now. So if I go down in health, well, I'd have to refresh the menu. I forgot about how I built that. So if I go into this next level, his health is down to 4 healths. The reason it's not adjusting on the fly is because I don't have this event constantly checking that variable. It was a choice I made to optimize the game, and I'm not sure I like it. But if you go into every level, see how the hearts refill every time you go there?
Oh, sure.
That buys us a bunch of optimization. Okay. So it's oh, is that something I want it to stay? But if you don't,
sure. I mean that would be a thing. Yeah, you make that decision. You know, it's I know it's all trade-offs.
But it's kind of cool. And here's a funny one. Let me see. Because it's not loaded. If you go above 6, because your max health can be only 6. So watch what happens if I have above 6. So somebody can't game it and figure out some hack that I don't know about. You can't get it above 6, and you can't. And once you go below 1, you're dead. No matter what you do.
Done. Nice, I like that.
Very loud. Yeah. So in any case, so that's what the debugger does.
Yeah.
Now, as far as these little things at the top, this is where I'm debating, and this is my whole challenge, is that I'm using actors to do that. So let's go back into the game. I know you're talking about how we can adapt all these different pieces, because what I'm hoping you would do is download this and be nuts to getting in all that coding mumbo jumbo.
No,
I'm going to focus myself all up on the A sprite side of the house. So...
But I like the idea that I can, because a lot of this I need to still go in and see it in real life. I draw things and do things and then be put it in the game and then play around inside of the game and be okay, that feels right.
So there's a couple things that you can do, and I'll show you right now. Is that these are actors, and so I'll show you where you can edit those, because those are kind of cute and fun to do.
Yeah.
But if you're in this part of the game, actually it's all the way over here. So if you click on Skull Bobs, and this is where I got a little insane, is that I have these things called development settings, and I'm going to enable them right now. I have a different build of the game that's going to be a little bit better than this, but here is every variable right now in the game, and you have to set that. So if you get to the point where you die in the game, it throws you to a different screen. But then if you were to restart the game, it'd be like, oh, we're not changing any of your variables. We're going to keep, so I have to reset all the variables to the default. But what's nice about it is you can say like, well, what should the variable be for the loadouts? And you can like hot swap some of those variables and like turn on weapons and do things. So you don't have to play the entire game.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of set those up at the very beginning, have those things run.
I guess how much of it too is I'm probably building a lot of the new stuff in like the development,
Yes, absolutely.
one, right? But this is more like, the level is already built. I just need to be able to add sprites to it, and I want to check them out and see if they sort of like work right or look good in the thing. So then I might want to say, okay, start this level with double jump and bat and in the middle or something, or does it? Do I have to drag that little arrow, that starting arrow?
Nope, you shouldn't have to do any of that.
Okay.
That's what I tried to create on this. And I don't know if we're making any sense to anybody, but I tried to make it to where you didn't have to do that. So you have this one developmental level. This is it. And so let's say you went in and said, I don't want that to be my developmental level. I wanted it to be like this storage closet or something. You just swap it to that.
Yeah.
You go in, start the game, go to development, and this is the level that's going to load. So I might make it really long for you so that like you have a long version of it or something like that. Or I might be able to make it to where you could say, I want the long version or the short version. And then you just pick which one you want it to go to.
And what about like this tall level off to the left? Say I was like, I'm going to go in and work on like doing the pixel art for this. And I went in and I was like, I'm playing it and I'm like, oh, it should really have a second ghost up in the top. Can I just like copy and paste ghosts and move them around and do things like that?
Yeah. You can do that with the ghost.
Cool.
So here's how, if you're working on like the game level itself, there is one thing you can do. If you click on the original start level, you're going to notice that the very first thing that it does, if you click on start, it shows all the interconnections between all the levels. But this one is, I can't remember why this one's showing all these other areas. This one's weird because it's like goes off to nothing. So I don't know why that's doing that. I have to figure that out in a minute. But if I click on this particular level, it throws you right by the bar. If you're like, I want to start the game and I actually want to work on a real level and I just want to be in that level just to play that one level, you could drag this one and say, this is where I want to start.
That's what I had been doing.
Yeah. So that's a fine way to do it. Now,
for testing.
What I'm trying to figure out is like the best way for you to get the level looking good and like set up and then have a golden version of our setup. And so the code is solid. And then you're like, all right, Adam, I played with this. I did all this stuff. Here's what I think it should look like. Integrate this into the game. So if you were to build this into some crazy alleyway, maybe you tested it, you put some things on there, and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is where it needs to be. I think then you would hand that off to me. I'd go and I'd have to like recreate it in the actual game itself. Because what I'm going to continue to do is like there's little bugs that we found already tonight. Thankfully, this is like 2 versions back, but it had all the stuff that I wanted to show off.
Okay.
So I've cleaned up some of this work, but in the future state, I think it's going to be best that we're like, code is great in this one and working. There's been a few moments where I messed one thing up. I'm like, the game's broken. It's completely broken. But then you just go and like you hunt it down and you figure out where it's at. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. It's, I guess because right now, like you said, a lot of the stuff is set up, right? So what needs to be created next feels like the whatever, how many levels, like unique sort of non just like I'm in a room and learning lore levels, but like the basement levels, right? And the front area levels in this back alley level and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost like it's 2 things. It's level design and what we're doing inside of those levels to make it fun and interesting. Sure. And then being like, cause that is number 1. Like it needs to play really well a thing before we like set up any sort of visuals for it, except for sort of maybe the most basic kind of like background tiles that we're going to use in all of this stuff.
Well, and this is what I'm finding with it is like, why don't you get like build the alley, like with your artistic sense without thinking about too much of it. Like realize that, yeah, we're going to be jumping from these balconies and you know that basics, but like spend
We could still tweak it.
yeah, like, because I've found that this iteratively dealing with this has been much more easy than like, I'm going to figure out every jump and every detail and then build the thing. Like, build the thing so it looks cool.
Well, because I think what you're almost saying is that there's just going to be, because so much of it is going to have to be reused tiles still.
Yeah.
Like in all of these. It doesn't matter. And so, you know, like you said, 60% of it is going to be reused tiles, 70% of it. And then you go, okay, well, what are the unique ones? And what are the things that go in the back alley? Maybe it's wrought iron edging to the, you know, outside catwalks or whatever. And then, but it's still going to have brick. It's still going to have this, you know, maybe floor at the bottom or on certain things. And then what unique things do you want to put in there with the pixels that you got left? And I don't know, did we ever get a sense of like, how many pixels can we have, like how many unique things can we have, tiles can we have in each background area?
192. That's the
and
limit.
that's for like the entire, so if this goes up really far, it's just 192 in this entire sort of area.
Correct.
And that doesn't, and what does that not include and include? So it's just background elements,
tiles.
not enemies,
Right.
not Roby, nothing that moves. Okay.
And so that's, I think the best bet is I want you to put your creative hat on and use more of that side of it and be like, I'm going to take this to this level of like making a sweet tile-based version of an alleyway with the idea that I want to try to use a bunch of these tiles over, and like, how can I like make it look cool, but not focus too much on like, he has to jump here or there yet. And like, because once you get the basic down and you're like, all right, this looks like an alleyway, then we can say, okay, where do we need to put that little wrought iron at this point? Or
I think it needs to have some kind of structure to it, right?
Agreed.
Like it needs to, you know, that you're going to be jumping onto platforms that go up and things like that, which I guess, you know, we basically know is going to be there. So in that sense, okay.
So one of the things I was going to show Mike Azul, there's an Easter egg here, Mike Azul, that we're gonna show you right now. I don't know if you found it yet, but since you're in the stream tonight, we're gonna show everyone the Easter egg. So one of the things that we talked about earlier, and this is the benefit to some of the new updates that they have in here. So you read the story, play the game if you want to see what's going on here. I'm just skipping through it. There was the scripted moment where he walks away, but what I wanted to start doing was with those tile swaps we were looking before. They're useful for two things. One, you can just do a static tile swap.
Okay.
But they're also used for animated background tiles. Animated background tiles. Now keep that in mind. Like you can have an animation going on a background. And so my first foray in it, well, there's two places. And I think I kind of showed Ryan this the other night. But if you're in this room, can anybody spot the background tile animation? Very subtle
subtle for
if
sure.
you can see it, is what you're going to see is the light flickers just a little bit. And so that was my absolute first like test to see if this thing would work. I was like, I need something simple.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I got this figured out now. And so that's not the Easter egg, and I'm really excited about this one. Who knows what my favorite game on Game Boy is, aside from, of course, Skull Bob's Adventures? Does anybody know? Put it in the chat if you think you know it. And wait, you can squash bugs now, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So first of all, he knows it. He knows it. Yes, Tetris.
Great, had Zebra even do it.
Man,
great.
First time. Okay, check this out. Oh, we have a big spider, but look at this little screen. Oh yeah. I had to animate this entire little sequence for this thing to work like this. Even be like, oh, look it has to like clear itself and then start itself over.
Nice.
I thought that was sweet.
Yeah, that's a fun, like those are fun. So how much
Can you play Doom? We are going to put Doom in on this one.
so how much does that steal away from my am I wasting like tons of tiles?
Nope, not at all. It's This one costs 4. Wait, is that one? That's one tile. I did that in one tile, Ryan.
One 8x8 tile.
That's a one 8x8 tile.
How is that possible?
Because I'm amazing.
Apparently.
Literally that. And then I got all the pieces up here. So here's the question. How did I do that? And what I did is over here, I click on this little area and I say, okay, what tile is that? So again, if you highlight an area in this lower right-hand side, it will tell you the exact X and Y coordinates. So it's 6810. And so if I click on this world, which I do, I created down here this timer script. And what it basically says is, I call it my Tetris one. And so there it is, 68 by 10.
Okay.
And I load this tile set in. And I say, what I want you to do is I want you to start at tile 0. And I want you to just go iteratively per tile all the way through the 34 tiles that create that whole sequence.
Okay.
And then it stores it in this variable so that if I like get into a menu and come back, it saves where it used to be, exactly where it was at. And so that's a simple thing. That's all I did is I put in basically a timer and I said, run it at this interval. So this is how fast the animation runs, how long you're running the thing. And then you run it across this animation.
But doesn't it use 32 tiles then?
Nope. It's only one tile at a time. Whatever tile is on is the one it uses at that moment.
Okay.
So it's using it like, if you're like one tile, nope, this tile, because it only ever sees that one tile. And that's
So it could be infinity tiles.
Yeah, you can put a crap load of tiles in there. So here's the other cool thing. I had to put into the game, and I kind of even was more kind of creative with it. There's no other tiles in this, in this level that have that little Tetris-y looking shape to it. So that's what made it unique for me. So I could like home in on it and say, this is the unique tile.
Right.
But if I were to, and watch, I'm going to use this as an example. Let's say I think this should work. Let me go to the side just a couple. So I'm going to have to beat the game to not beat it, but get to this level again. So I have to do a little bit of work in the game. But watch what happens when I come in here. I said the tile I want to replace is what tile?
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry.
I put it off to the side.
Oh, okay.
So it's in this white. How many white tiles are in this world right now?
A million, yeah.
So what it's basically saying is you're like, hey, any tile type that looks like this white tile, swap out with this other sequence.
So it's going to be like Game Boy game wallpaper.
Yeah, and so but I want you to think about it from the implications of what you could do with that. Imagine an outside level that has rain coming down, and you make one tile that has the rain coming down in the right kind of cadence, and then like it stacks really well on top of each other. You should have like a pretty sweet looking like rain thing. So bear with me as I do this run through. Now I can use those variables, and this is why I put the exit, because I'm always like spamming the key to get past it. But let's get this going. Bathroom deuce. Yeah, the way that I check the logic on this damn thing is ridiculous, just because there's so many scenarios that you can run into.
Yeah.
So basically it's like, talk to D, go and check the bathroom, get your bat, go kill the rat. Here you are, rat, let's go, buddy. Oh, I missed it the first run. Boom. And then I'll put sprint on. You have to pass him, because if you talk to him, he'll just like be talking nonsense.
Okay.
I kind of made her, and this was originally in your thing. You're like, she's the home base. You got to talk to her all the time.
Totally. I think so.
She gets
especially
all the
for
missions.
especially for this section. I think in the next section, it's probably AB.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do that. You talk to him.
And D is like on your phone.
Oh, yeah, you can have a little. Oh, she's in the little like next menu screen.
Yeah.
That talks into that, gives you the next steps to it. She's always going to be asking you to like fix up a part of the bar or something.
Yeah, she's like a quest giver basically, and like the everyman kind of.
All right. I'm really hoping that I got this. Let's see here. Yeah, she's just saying thanks. Go check everything out. All right. So all that. Sorry, you had to watch that again.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, if it doesn't work, we're not going to do that again. Squash this little bug. I'm actually kind of excited to see what it's going to do. Oh yeah.
It did.
It's awesome. So, I mean, do you see the implications of what you could do with that? Because it's not killing my memory or anything. I'm running around just
Right.
fine. Like, I'm like, there is nothing that's happening.
Yeah.
So,
Like a giant waterfall in the background could be that exact same thing.
absolutely. So,
like
you,
pouring down the
you,
walls.
you crank up the speed a little bit and you're able
Yeah.
to do that. You got to love this spider, though. Come on now. Isn't
These
that
are
creepy? It's like gross.
Yeah, I love that he gets splatted.
But,
and just stays there.
so I guess the point of what we're trying to show is that I've worked on getting all the game elements in there and put default like little elements. And so if you wanted to adjust this, just to give you a quick example of all of the core pieces to this, is that I don't know if I can make this any bigger. I don't know how this thing works. Everything's so small. I'll do large icons. Okay. So assets folder. This is where everything starts. You get into assets folder. You're going to have avatars, which if you wanted to do things with the different faces that show off to the left of the talking, you
Okay.
can create those there. So if you wanted to tweak them, I had to adjust them. I just took the actual avatar pieces. I don't think you can get like animation and you can't do coloring, but that's fine for now.
Okay.
You got your background pieces, which are, we showed those. It's not large, so you can see each one of the backgrounds that are associated with the game. So every piece of the game. There's this one called UI collectibles that you got to be careful with. I'm using old code to run it right now. I haven't switched over to that cool tile method I was showing. Like I had to use the old, like write up some C# script to make it work.
Okay.
But then this is where it gets interesting. So the sprites are pretty cool because I think you'll like those. Those are all our people and all the different sprites. So what I had to do is I split out. I used to have all of these sprites in the same bucket, but now they're their own little thing. So if you collect something, it's its own item. Remember before it used to just be a bunch of Game Boys everywhere?
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is going to be bad practice for how I want to run this. So every one of these icons now is its own thing. So you can deal with that.
And it has like the little blank side next to the normal side.
Yeah, and I just put that for expansion in case
okay.
we wanted to like put a different version, like a second version of it.
Okay.
But they're only worth one tile. So there's that. But here's where it gets interesting. There's the new portion of GB Studios. These are the tile sets. So here's the Tetris one, which I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Tetris one so you can kind of see what it takes to build it. I made a very short one and then I made a really long one because my first one was like make a line and then it disappears, but then it would like flick back on to like where it was started and already had 2 lines. I was like, damn it, I have to do the whole cycle to make this work. So this is what makes that animation work.
Okay.
Just basically pixels animated. You can kind of see that. And it's just like, think about a little reel going through that and doing all the different things.
Yeah.
So you would create all of the tile sheets like that. And that's the more important part is not that tile sheet. It is this one. So like your power-ups, you go in there, your power-up is also a sheet.
Okay.
So it sucks because you kind of have to like split it up like that.
But you would just design it in something
Design
else.
it somewhere.
Paste it in here.
Top is always to the left and then to the other one. And I always add an extra slide just for the heck of it if I needed a blank one in there.
Okay.
So what I needed you to do is start to like go through all of the menus and start looking at all the different pieces and parts of our A sprite files and being like, yeah, I think I could fix that one up. Same thing for the bat. So that's where the bat swaps out. There's the vial, the Game Boy. I had this other one. Here's the little lighting effect. And of course we have the Tetris pieces in there.
Okay.
So I think you would go in and we already did the loadout weapon, but maybe you want to do it instead of right now, the way it's coded is each of those things. Like if you put loadout weapons, they're all going to be the same thing. So there'd be 3 with the little exclamation.
Yeah.
If you want me to do it to where it's individual per thing and it's like grayed out icon and then like the actual thing when you get it,
I would rather not, I mean,
it's easy.
focus on that, to be honest. Like if we,
it's a little touches, Ryan. They're so nice.
but I know, but we don't even know what those weapons are. So it feels like
a bat, a gun, and then maybe a laser gun.
yeah, but like, is the laser coming out of a laser skull or something? Like, I don't know, like what it is exactly. So I would just leave these as like, and if we decide that we come up with amazing designs for that, then we'll be like, cool, we'll just switch it up.
So what I've basically set up for you is a way for you to like reskin the entire game at every single part. The caveat to all of this is you have to do it pixel perfect. And this is not like I made be ADHD Adam and have that thing and like, yes, that's 100%. I'll own that. But in this case, it absolutely makes sense because of the tiles. So like if you were like, I'm going to change Roby, at this point, I've locked it in to him being exactly in these tile sets. So if you were like, I kind of want this bat now to like come out into these pixels a little bit more, it would potentially mess up some of the things. Now, if I turn on the grid, you technically would be okay because you're within this grid of pixels to do that. But like if his feet moved over to the side a little bit more, something else went wrong, I have it timed out in the scene to where it's like, this is where his feet are, and this is how the animation rolls.
Am I going to know which ones not to touch and which ones to touch?
Well, are you going to be changing sprites, I guess is my question.
I mean, I don't know.
So this space reserves the point where his bat is like now swung through behind his back. And I don't think I use that one. I do use this one. I think I use these 3. We don't use this one at all yet. But what I guess I could say is if you were like, yeah, we don't use this one, let me take all these and move this box to this box, it's going to screw the game.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it doing that. I see me more being like, as I run around and hit, I'm like, I wish his like bat came back a little bit further.
Yeah, I think if you went to this one and you're like, I am just going to focus today on just this piece of it, and you're like tweaking little pieces of hair and it's within this scope, I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Notice how though you have this foot that's like perfectly in this square and nothing comes up here. The bat basically like his hand doesn't come out from here. The less you like get out of these like things,
I've been trying
the
to
better.
Yeah.
Because it just adds in another tile and it's gonna eat against the memory we have in there. But I think if you needed like, let's say, to add more to his walk cycle, that's probably a good one. Because I was thinking about it, you could do that. You could put like an extra, make it like a 6 frame or something that walks like, which one did I put his walk cycle in default? That's AB. So like AB, for instance, I think if you wanted me to, you'd have to be like, all right, Adam, I'm going to change the walk cycle on somebody. I'm adding 3 more frames to it. Like you'd have to tell me and then we can kind of figure it out. But let's say this was his walk cycle and you wanted to add a couple other walk cycle frames. You could add it after it and it may not be in the exact order, but then I can still use it and reorder it in the game itself, if that makes any sense. So you might just
if I wanted one in between them, it wouldn't necessarily have to go in between.
It does. Yeah, just put it here and say, hey, Adam, this one should be actually the 3rd frame.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be in some sort of order so that way if we were going to do that. But what I'm saying is like, don't come in here and be like, all right, I'm going to move AB this one and I'm going to create these new frames, because what happens now is that there would be a blank AB frame in the middle of our animation because the code is saying, remember, it's like whatever this X and Y value of that coordinate is going to be.
Yeah.
It kind of screws it over.
Okay.
But I would say your focus more so shouldn't be on the characters because we nailed those down. I would say spend some time in your backgrounds.
And just like maybe do basement and back alleyway. Like those are the 2 that we kind of have laid out slightly.
I would love to see this freaking back alleyway. Here's what I was going to say too. I noticed it's really, really tall. And I think I was like pushing it to the limits of how tall it could be. So let's say you get to this point and like you build it and it ends like right here. Keep it in this height level, and then just we'll forget about some of that top part, and then we'll have to resize it so that works. And like build it as high as you think it can go, or if you feel like if you can go all the way to the top, great, we can do that and we can probably make it work.
Sure.
But don't feel like you have to like size this down. Like open this up, hide some of these elements, and then build the whole thing in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of, you know, like we sort of laid out on some things, like there's a door that comes in on the right? Like there's a ramp that comes up. There's sort of, so we know kind of a little bit of the elements of it.
I've become really accustomed to this sweet little area. So if we could somehow keep some version of this, I would love it, but I'm not going to cry too much on it.
Cause did you see my version of the thing? It was like it was like pretty close to that.
Yeah. Check out I was wishing that I had done this earlier, but okay, there's this ghost and he shoots some stuff out, right? I wanted to show you this. It's kind of fun. I was like, man, I need to get him out of the way for a second. So I put him just right here. And I was like, that just gets him out of the way. It is an amazing placement of an enemy that shoots. Like, to make this part way more fun,
Sure.
just by moving him. Because at first, you get the rat, you kill him, and then you see him, you're like, what the heck is this? And then you kill him, and then he's like, okay, enemy gone. Now it's just like parkour. Well, when you run this part of it, you kill the enemy, you kind of come up and you start jumping up, and then like when you land here, the bullets just graze your head, but they don't hit you, and you're like, oh god.
Nice.
And then you have to like time the jump to get on here, and then if you get up there, you're like, cool, I'm doing that. Then you miss the jump, and then you fall down and here again.
Right, and he's like shooting at you.
I was
again.
like, what a perfect spot for an enemy to be. So
Can I make non-killable enemies?
yeah.
Okay.
Like, what do you want to do with that? Like,
I don't know. Let's say it was just like, some sort of fixture there, like shooting something or shooting water or whatever
yeah, absolutely.
at intervals.
So if this helps you, and this is where we're going to have to think about this, and I'll use this as an example. So we're going to get into the game. So I'm going to get into that piece of the level. I know we're getting close to the time here. So I'm going to do this quick. Thankfully, this part's quick because all you have to do is look at this door. I was thinking, by the way, this door right now, this first part of the game, I'm gonna take a quick diversion. You talk to Dee. She's like, what stinks? And at least at this part of the game, I run over here and you basically like, oh, you can't get in the bathroom. Okay, you get out of here. I thought what would be sweet is if you came over here and you did go in the bathroom and then you're like, it stinks, and he sees some linking thing, and then that's where he goes in the sewer. And there's a huge sewer part right here. And he goes in and he finds some stuff in the sewer.
Okay.
Maybe that's where he actually gets the bat is in the sewer.
Right.
And he like gets some things down there, and like we spend a bunch of time in the sewer, and then he comes back up and he's like, yep, we need a plumber. And like I thought that would be a great place to put like, because then you get to have him parkour around. He can learn just like normal parkour. There's a lot of story to story to story at this part.
Right.
And that was just to like get the vibe of it.
Yeah.
But it'd be great to be like, go and learn how to run around as Roby now in this basement, because that's the only thing you could do at this point. Go do that thing.
Right.
And at the very end of it, he finds his bat or something like that.
Yeah. It feels like each level needs to be teaching you something that is at that level, right? So it's like, is it just the parkouring with nothing?
Yes.
And then the second one is then now and you got the double jump, and then
he finds the pizza in the sewer. He definitely needs to do that. Like a little bandana over in the corner there. It's red. So, because look he gets his bat, and this was just for we took a game and we crunched it into this small demo to be able to like check it out. He can get items. Right. He can pick things up. He can do all these things. Now, let's spread it out a little bit. Yeah. And so the great moments are he can go in the sewer from that portion, does a bunch of sewer level. He can go all the way up on the alley level. Okay. So that adds those two dimensions. The only other thing I was thinking is then when he goes into the door at the end of this level, that's when our first boss battle happens too. Okay. Like I think that gets us like a great stage one. Yeah. And maybe the first boss battle is just enough, like once you get into him, like now I can get into the brewery. Right. And then he goes in. Okay. And maybe the boss battle's not even like a boss, but it's like some sort of like you were saying a big stein that has some sort of hose that just keeps like accidentally spraying things, and he has to like hit it over here, shoot it, or jump on it over there.
Like like a boss from Contra, like a Contra boss that's like a wall that shoots things at you.
Yeah, I think that would be sweet. So here's what I loved about this part. First of all, it's always different on a keyboard. But when you jump on this guy, he's like, "I'm gonna shoot you." It just grazes his hair, and then you're like, "All right, I got on that part." And then as he's up here, which I got to get my jump ready. Oh, I don't have any. I don't even have it.
You have nothing. You have no way to do that.
I was like so concentrating. I'm gonna get it a first try, bro. Oh. Anyways, I think that at this point, is there any questions, any thoughts, or like what would you focus on? Like creating the alleyway, I think is big.
Yeah, because I think before I was thinking like creating the levels and how you jump around in them, but I don't know if we have it like figured out exactly how we want to utilize each level yet.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe it is just more like the flavor of the level with the different
Yes.
sprites and stuff. And then we know there's going to be sections of rooms that have pouring water or something like that animated into the background of it pouring down. And when you know there's going to be rock sprites and gravel things and how they're going to fit and what platforms are going to look like, and sort of build it kind of generically. And then be like, okay, well, now we have all the stuff for this level. Let's just start moving it around and playing with it and how far it needs to be. Because I think like we know we want a sewer one, and we know, or a basement one, or whatever that is, and then the alleyway.
Absolutely. And here's the thought, like as you're going up, if there's stoops, you could put like a couple rooms on the stoops where you walk in a room, and now imagine a whole nother level of a room right over here.
Totally.
Like I think that would be sweet.
Yeah.
And so that starts the basement, the attic, and you had some things over here. What was the ones we said? We talked about a patio with umbrellas,
Patio
or a kitchen.
I like the kitchen. If we're only going to do 3 rooms, maybe perhaps. Like I feel like I like the kitchen.
I like that. So we have a basement or sewer. So we have that.
Sewer. Yeah.
And then a back alley and a kitchen. I think
And a
a kitchen
kitchen.
would be perfect. So I would say if you could put focus top of the line at new levels, that would start to help extend out what we got going on here. I really think that would be number one. Oh, this is where this went. It would go to this little area. So, all right. So if you could focus on that, I think that would be great.
Cool.
And then where would the kitchen be? So if he goes into here, that's the bathroom. We just got to throw a door somewhere else, I guess. Then we could put a door right here for kitchen.
Yeah.
Cool. So there's enough room for a door.
Or like I like the idea of it going into a room and then needing to go through that room and get to the kitchen, right? Or
so
something.
so off the bathroom is the
So,
kitchen.
so like, yeah. I mean, place is gross.
Let's see. Where would you put a kitchen off of then? Like what other room do we have? Because this is the attic. This is storage.
Storage, I guess. But I mean, you would just have to change what storage was, right? Like you would just say store instead of storage now it's the entranceway to the kitchen or whatever, or like a dining area and then kitchen.
Or like the hostess area. Yeah, I love the idea that you start going through rooms to get to rooms. So so maybe we build a little bit of that, because I think that ends up being a good stage one. And then because right now, if you do a true honest playthrough, and I did a rush playthrough of this, and if you read it for the first time, it takes about 15 or so minutes.
Yeah. Tap room with a bunch of barrels and stuff. That would be fun.
That would be great. And that's where you could like break a barrel. Oh, you could break a barrel to get the kitchen door like opened, or to the kitchen door.
I also still liked the idea of like a sort of decrepit or something, or just cheesy gift shop. And that being just one of the fun rooms that is off of a room. Like it's almost like a reward you for running around.
You know what I thought? Okay, I figured it out. We take this entrance and that becomes the kitchen, because you would have a kitchen that goes to an alley with the trash on it. And you would also want it to like get into the bar to go serve the patrons. So that would make a good kitchen. And then off the museum is the second room for the gift shop, because you go to the museum and you get the gift shop.
The only problem is like all of these rooms that are going to be playable rooms.
Yeah.
They're the huge, right? They're going to have to be like either lots of rooms, lots of small rooms all connected, right? Because you can't have 2 jumps, right? And then you're ready to go into a different room.
Right.
So they're almost going to be as long as this tavern room.
Right. But why not break it up?
Well, because I think you want like more than 2 jumps before you're going into the next room.
So I think,
like maybe it doesn't have to be tavern room length, but it's probably 2/3 of one.
Like if you did an attic room, like which is a pretty decent size. So you do attic room, that's what, 2 and maybe it's almost a half of a maybe just do a full room. And then like where are some logical breaks in it, or is there a certain thing? Because I was playing a lot of Metroid and playing through different levels. So I think this is where we're going to, maybe the answer is there are going to be some levels that are going to be like less stuff in them, that has and it's more just a bunch of tiles that are the same, so we can make it big and crazy. Because these are long or tall, but we could make like big as well. So it's like both long and tall at the same time. Less icons though.
couple of patrons on the bar stools giving her reasons. I know, like more. So that is
That's a
one
good
thing.
point.
Like character, like other characters, are we limited by?
So I think that's a good point. So you could put like a character here that's not animatable. So this character, you can see that I can move him around. So I can put him on any seat you want. We're limited by how many we can put in there.
Well, and storyline was that the bar was closed at the beginning, right? Like this is early in the morning after the wake. And
true.
so we were like, we didn't want to fill it full of a million different patrons and have to do all of that. So we're kind of like, oh, it's sort of them three in the bar. And maybe the brewery is like slightly more crowded with.
But here's how you could do patrons. So I think it's a great idea because let's say in a future state, one of the thoughts was if you come back through this bar at another time and there's more people in it, the only way we're going to be able to pull that off is I'm going to have to do a complete duplicate of this scene and put it below and then load that one. So you're going to not be going back to the actual bar you went through, but then that extends it because we've maxed that scene with as many like triggers and other, well, not triggers, but more characters in there. Because look at, there's another character, the same characters over here, here. So you have 1, 2. What I was going to say is that you use those swaps.
Yeah.
So what we could do is in a scene, you could put like a patron and do like a quick little animation cycle like you saw the Tetris, and he would just be at the bar doing the thing.
Right.
The only thing is she can't walk behind that person because she's technically on top of the bar.
Yeah. Well, I could see him in the background, like pouring beers, right, or something.
It could
be.
be. Well,
he'd be like, it would just be like an animation. With
or
him
if
doing that.
or if he's here, he's sitting on this end chair. Her animation only takes her to this point and back and forth. So we just have to be strategic. Or if there was like in the background somebody like playing pool or something.
Right.
I mean, Roby would be running in front of that person anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They're in the background no matter what.
Except if he can jump on that table.
That's true. Whatever.
Or people at the
playing.
So what we would do is on those ones you just can't jump on the table.
Yeah.
You just run in front of it because he's not going to do that. Or if there's, I always thought it'd be cool, like some guys at the control, like in their arms moving or up to the side.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You can totally populate a bar.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe get the worlds there, and then we can do some testing of adding characters.
Yeah,
That's great feedback.
Well, because I think what we could do is once we get it all set up, then we're like, can we do more characters? If we could do more characters, let's do more characters, right?
Hell yeah.
All right.
I think we got
That's
this
good.
all nailed together, at least as a good start. I appreciate the ability for me to vamp on the amount of work that I've been doing in the last little bit of time.
Well,
It's
that's
been
the whole
fun.
thing. It's been like an awesome creative endeavor.
I like how it's been like subtle because I looked at the first. I have the very first game. It's like one square of like a little squiggly guy that can jump around.
That's right. Yeah, that was amazing. The alien, like you started
Hell yeah.
running around. I remember that.
Great show tonight. I
come a long way.
love it. Like we started with a philosophical conversation
We did.
outside of the show, and now we're ending with
Yeah.
the next step of Skull Bob. So, oh, you know what? Need a Skull Bob's themed name card for Halloween. That's actually a great idea. As a side note, we have been talking with our composer. So the composer out of Canada that we've got nailed down. We're in some talks, so we're gonna start to see some music coming on fairly soon.
Yeah,
so
cool.
We're excited. We have about 6 or 7 tracks we have contracted. We're gonna be working on that. So if there's any kind of feedback on the game, you have some music that you see that is out there.
If there's like other games that have music that you think would be like cool to give as inspiration to this guy, we're sort of in that space right now of listening to a bunch of things and saying, what do we want our style to be?
Absolutely. And Gray Hat Zebra, thanks for joining us tonight. Check it out. We do have pizza in the game. So there it is. Pizza item.
They can't see it, Adam.
Oh shoot. That was bad of me. There it is. There's our pizza.
Right there. Pizza in the game. That's the power up. It gives what? Full
Full
health
power
back.
up.
Full health
And just
back.
like the Ninja Turtles there. So all right, we're gonna take off for the evening. Yeah, pizza. We will have we'll see you next time. Next time, let's see here. Can you commit to anything? I know you're in the midst of some other stuff. Can we get like part of the alleyway? If there was like some
if we want to do
traction.
alley first,
I think
we'll just
I
do
think
a bunch
alley
of stuff.
would be a great start to
Cool.
it, and like going higher because
Yeah.
we've got to this apex of where we're at, but we can go a little bit higher. So
Yeah.
until next time, thank you for
Okay.
joining us on Double Drop Down. We'll see you
Yeah.
later. Peace out.
Bye.